Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for their Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for HVAC services, aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ring.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
And welcome in. I'm Ryan Renker, filling in for Annie Fry today. Happy to be here as always. And Ryan Wiggins, good to see you.
Good to see you. How are you doing?
It's been a rough week for me because it's allergy season here, and I know every region kind of has their hot spot when allergies hit, and this whole week has been really rough. It's just I'll get gross. The drainage, the mucus, all going from the nose and right there down the throat, the coughing, the hacking, the spitting. It's been like that all week. Just in time to do the show today where I don't feel bad. So that's great.
You know what? It's better that it goes down the back side of the throat than outside of your nose.
I don't know. I wish I can just snot rocket it out. That would seem easier, but I think my colleagues would hate me doing that in the trash cans. But it would solve the issue. You know, I got to say, I see that you had the door cracked open. Are you still having some heating and cooling issues inside the studio?
No, we're pretty good. I guess when it's spring, you know, the temperature outside determines that the temperature inside is also fine.
We got a lot to get to on the show today, and I saw we have Hans von Spakovsky that will be coming up here in just, 10 minutes or so from now. Is the draft coming back? That's the thing that a lot of people are talking about right now. If you're young, you're thinking to yourself, oh, no, not this. They thought that, you sign up for selective service basically to get student loans when you turn 18. You do that voluntarily, though. It kind of, it is needed. But there wasn't really ever a time where when you're 18, you thought, okay, you're automatically going to have to serve in the military. But now it's going to come automatic, and people are worried. Is the draft coming back? Trump administration says, no, that's not really part of our plans. We're just going to make this one thing automated. But a lot of people are worried about it, especially if you're younger. Do you think it's going to happen?
No, especially if Trump is saying no. I'm not sure why this has become a thing again. I guess people are really worried about war. I think with the deadline with, what was it, the Tuesday night deadline at 7 o'clock, I think that restoked a lot of people's fear of war. And we had a lot of people kind of joking about, the end of civilization is coming. But you could tell that there was a little bit of, yes, I'm joking, but I am a little bit worried about this. So I don't know if that's become a topic of discussion because people are now thinking about it again or what.
I'm going to throw a couple of automatics at you and tell me what the difference is between the two of them. I'm curious. One, the automatic of selective service, automatically your name, once you turn 18, put into that. And the automatic of once you're 18, you're automatically on a voter roll. They're automatically putting you in to be able to be eligible to vote. Is there a difference between the two automatics?
Yeah, there's a difference. But if you do one, it's okay to do the other. Here's the thing. I've done a lot of research with, talking about the SAVE Act and making sure you're a citizen and having some sort of identification to register to vote, not just to vote, because that's the big issue that people have with it. Every democracy in the world, at least in the Western world, all of South America, all of Europe, and all of Asia that I could find, because I did a lot of research, already has verification of this style other than us and the UK. We're the only two countries that don't have some sort of automatic or easily verifiable citizenship to vote. Mm-hmm. So I actually am okay with the idea of when you turn 18 just being automatically registered in light of the issues that we've had, because then there would be a check on citizenship at that point.
That's the problem. They don't want to check citizenship. They say if you're here in the United States and you're 18, then citizenship will just we'll just check that later if it ever comes into question. They look at it in such a backwards type of way that you can't just automatically do it unless you exclude people that aren't eligible to vote to begin with. But they don't want to do that. They don't want those checks.
Yeah, and that's the big issue. Now, whether you get automatically registered for the draft, what's the current system? We get automatically registered at 18?
No. Basically, what happens? Don't you remember doing this when you're 18? So you have to just basically fill out a form that tell them you're turning 18. You have to have this filled out if you want to apply for things like student loans. But that's basically all it is. It's just a little form you fill out and it's done. I remember when I was 18, I think I had to do it at the post office. It was just a quick little form and that was it because I knew I was going to need student loans. So that was easy. There was no question about it. It could have been an automatic thing, I guess.
I couldn't remember the process. I remember doing something like that when I turned 18, that I had to fill out something. And I only remember two aspects of it, Ryan. One was that once you filled it out, you were on some sort of list for being a man. And therefore, they sent you things like deodorant samples and random things that have to do with puberty in the mail.
Oh,
do you remember this?
Awesome.
Well, if that's the case,
so
there's
great.
no possible way then you were enlisted, Ryan. There's no way that you
No, I
became
was. I got
there's no way.
a few things from Old Spice, I remember.
Okay.
And the second thing is that I remember getting recruitment calls constantly after that. And to the point that I was like, you kind of brush them. I had no intention of being in armed services. You can tell that I'm not built for it. And so I knew that at that time too. And they just constantly would call and call and call to the point that we didn't have cell phones, so it was all my landline. My parents were constantly answering the phone. No, here you go. Here's a recruiter. That I got to the point where I was like, well, so what should I do to try to sort of get myself off this list? So I would ask them questions back about what it would be like if and I would just make up the most random stuff. Like, what if I showed up and I didn't have any shirts? Like, if would the Army provide me with shirts? Because what if I forget them all when I show, like, the most ridiculous scenarios.
What if you rolled up with the shirt you're wearing right now tucked into some jean shorts and that was it?
Yeah. It would be stuff like, can I grow my hair really long, but just on the top? like just.
Listen, I know it's got to be buzzed on the sides, but like, what about the top? Can we get away with that here?
And at that time of your life, you only own those see-through mesh shirts, so it would have been really strange showing up with that.
Right,
goodness.
techno.
Oh, goodness.
Can I just say, too, and I think, Wiggins, we're roughly the same age. I think we're in the ballpark of same age. So there was a time early on in the internet where it was so easy to get free samples. I want to go back to the Old Spice stuff. As a guy, you can just go online and put your name and address down, and they would send you stuff all the time. I used to get free razors, free deodorant, free shampoo, free this. They wanted you to use their products, and back in the day, it was just a bunch of free stuff, and you signed up under your name, different variations of your name, different email addresses, just so you can scam the system. And I want to say between the ages of like 20 and 25, I didn't pay for any toiletries. It was just all free stuff off the internet. And you can't do that anymore. They don't give you that.
Yeah, because they presumed at that time that, if you're 19 and you start using Gillette, you will continue to use Gillette until you're 65. Which is not, their market must have shown that was true at that time. It definitely was not true for me, and I don't think it's true now.
Not at all. When Gillette went to the, hey, don't be too manly because you don't want to show, you don't want to be too much of a man. You need to show your side that you're also a feminist at the same time. And I thought, okay, this Gillette, your whole slogan was the best a man can get. And you're like going through this whole thing. We're going to shame you, our customer, because we just assume your behaviors are like this because we've gone on the wrong track. The best a man can get. And as soon as they went down that path, I said, no more Gillette. But the problem was, this is so funny. Back in the day, too, you could go online and you can buy like 50 razors for $10. Like the promotional stuff. No joke. I bought these when I was 20. I'm now just running out of the razors.
Yeah.
So I could finally get a different brand.
I did the same thing because I wear a beard most of the time, so I don't need a lot of razors. And so I don't buy him either. I will say one more thing on this topic is that when we were at that same age of the early days of the internet, there were entire websites devoted to, hey, go click on this, you'll get free stuff every day. And you could check it every day, and it was different. And so I found out, they don't actually verify who you are. So I got a buddy of mine's address, and I would send this guy stuff in the mail that was the most bizarre. I remember one time sending him a facsimile of a signed headshot of Steve Gutenberg. I'm like, I don't know why this exists, but you're going to get one in the mail. And for probably 5 or 6 years, he knew if he was getting something weird in the mail, it's probably for me.
Oh, that's hilarious. And it was easier back when you weren't a homeowner because you didn't care because you weren't going to be at that address anyway. It didn't matter. Like some other person that lives here is going to have to deal with all the junk and the solicitation that comes with it. Don't have to worry about it for me. And an email address that doesn't exist anymore. Sergeant Old Spice at hotmail.biz or something like that.
Right.
That you would sign up just for that. I saw we have Hans von Spakovsky that's going to be joining us after the break. Advancing American Freedom, senior legal fellow there. He's a former FEC commissioner, former DOJ lawyer. He's got a lot of credentials. And anytime we ask him about something, I always learn something new. We're going to talk to Hans coming up after the break. Oh, by the way, what's the YouTube live chat poll?
Oh, yeah, this is a good one. And I really have no idea how this is going to end. The question is, should the United States remain in NATO? Yes or no? Yes or no question. No middle.
It's going to be a tough one. Where do you think it's going? Are you on the fence?
I don't know. From the comments that I'm monitoring right now in our live stream, it's kind of 50-50. And most people are saying that they themselves are 50-50. So if you want to comment there, or you can text in 314-241-9797, and I'll monitor those too.
Who needs us more? Does NATO need us more than we need NATO?
Yes.
I think so. I think absolutely. So I think that kind of will give me an answer to that question. Hans von Spakovsky coming up after the break. The Andy Fry Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group as they show you how to create a worry-free retirement. It's Tuesday, April 28th at the DoubleTree Hotel in Chesterfield at 6:30. Here are Thomas and Bob with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and would like to know how to turn your 401k and IRA into a worry-free retirement? Would you like to learn the investment strategy that gives you market growth while avoiding the market losses at the same time?
Would you like to get your free personalized retirement income plan? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free and have a worry-free retirement? If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Have a worry-free retirement and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw. It's at the DoubleTree Hotel in Chesterfield, Tuesday, April 28th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Imagine this, a summer evening, relaxing under a beautiful porch overhang, hosting your friends on a composite deck, or enjoying a bug-free breeze in a screened room. That sounds dreamy, right? Hi, it's Kim, and that dream can be your reality with Lakeside Renovation and Design because they specialize in creating outdoor spaces that make your backyard the go-to spot for family and friends. And with their attention to detail and the high-quality materials they use, you'll have a space that lasts for years. Visit lakesideRD.com today to get started on your outdoor oasis.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
This is the Andy Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
And welcome back to the Andy Fry Show. Can I give a quick hot take before we go to Hans von Spakovsky?
Yeah.
Ryan Wiggins. I think Dr. Pepper is the most overrated of all soft drinks.
Ooh, I think you're wrong. I do think that Mr. Pibb is a little bit better, but I like Dr. Pepper a lot.
Really? So it's your go-to? I don't understand the appeal. Even calling something a pepper as a drink doesn't appeal to me. Even the name's unappealing.
Yeah, they had an issue a couple years ago with people saying it was all based on prune juice, and so they came out that whole marketing campaign saying 46 flavors or something like that, so you would check to see that it's not prune juice. That definitely was one that I went, yeah, that doesn't really sound appealing, but it was all false.
Yeah. there's a lot of false things said. Remember when they said there was sawdust in Taco Bell meat, and Taco Bell was pretty upset about that because they're like, no, why would the internet believe that? But man, they had to spend millions of dollars in campaigning to make sure people didn't buy into that lie. I love Taco Bell, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. Joining us now from Advancing American Freedom, Senior Legal Fellow there, Hans von Spakovsky. How are you, sir?
Ryan, I'm doing just fine, thanks.
Well, I wanted to read a headline for you, and I wanted to get your take on this. And it's something that Lindsey Graham said. And this, I think, sets up a legal question. Lindsey Graham says the president can start a war, but only Congress can end it. What do you think of that assessment?
Well, I think he's correct about that. Remember, the big power that Congress has is appropriations and funding. You know, if the president is commander in chief, he can use the military abroad. In fact, presidents of both parties have done that. The last time I looked at the number, something like 200 times in our history. Only in 5 of those occasions did Congress actually declare war. What is the only real power Congress has to affect that? It's to quit funding it. You know, if they pass an appropriations bill that says the Department of Defense may not use any of these dollars for a particular conflict, let's say what's going on in Iraq, that basically stops and prevents the president from being able to continue what he's doing. So Lindsey Graham, he's got it correct.
Yeah. You know, I think about all these different legal challenges that are out there, and it was just in the last week or so, the birthright citizenship in the Supreme Court, and you had President Donald Trump sit in and hear some of the arguments, not the whole thing, but I'm always so impressed whenever I listen to any arguments in front of the Supreme Court. Even I can listen to both sides, and I think these guys are so good at arguing their point, and whatever comes out of it, I'm just always impressed by it. Can I ask, have there been a more important president when it came to Supreme Court decisions? It seems like most of the things Donald Trump brings up, he just basically assumes it's going to go in front of the Supreme Court. And it seems like all of the different challenges he's had and the things that he's tried to change during a president, I can't recall any president that had so many issues that's been brought up to the highest court.
Oh, look, I think you're absolutely right about that. I mean, look, right now we're waiting on cases. There's a whole list of important cases that probably will have the most far-reaching effects of any recent session of the court. I mean, the birthright citizenship case obviously is going to affect literally millions of aliens in the United States, particularly the millions of illegal aliens that came in during Biden. The president, for the first time in 100 years, has challenged all the independent federal agencies that Congress has been setting up. You know, the SEC, the FTC, all these agencies that Congress set up over which the president has no supervisory authority. And, you know, there's 2 cases now before the court in which he's saying, look, I'm the head of the executive branch constitutionally. Congress, you can't set up these independent agencies over which I've got no control or supervision. That case alone, if he's successful, that'll be the biggest case when it comes to the power of the executive branch over the federal government. Like I said, in almost 100 years. And there's all kinds of other cases like that.
What do you think about that approach, the strategy? I always felt that as someone like Donald Trump, if it was me, and I knew that every single thing I tried to do would be challenged and feet would be dragged and it would be impossible to get any part of the agenda done. So, you know what? If it's going to end up in the courts anyway, I'm just going to do it. And then we'll let the courts decide because ultimately that's the way it's going to go. I feel like that's been his approach mostly. And sometimes he wins, sometimes he loses, but it's the only way to get anything done.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think that is the way to try to get things done, and that is the president's approach. He is the boldest president we have had in a very, very long time. In fact, I would actually say he's probably the boldest president we've had since Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who really stretched and pushed the federal government to expand its power and reach in a way that no one had ever seen before. And yeah, what he's doing keeps getting challenged in the courts, but even though he's losing a lot in the lower courts, frankly, I think because of radical partisan judges, he's actually winning a lot when it goes up to the courts of appeal and at the Supreme Court.
Right. So there's also a lot of things going on, but going back to this birthright citizenship, and what do you think is going to happen? Just like we were wondering about what's going to happen with the tariffs, we got that decision, but what do you think is going to happen with the birthright citizenship? I
tell you, that is a really tough case to predict because the Supreme Court has never, in its entire history, faced this issue squarely. Are the children of aliens illegally in the country, are they U.S. citizens? They've never decided that issue. The closest they came was almost 130 years ago. And back then, they simply said that the kids of permanent resident aliens, in other words, aliens who are here legally and are here, as long-term residents, they said that, yeah, they are citizens. I do think the administration is fighting an uphill battle, not because they're wrong, but just because the federal government has had this policy now for many decades of acting as if birthright citizenship is the law, even though I think that's a wrong interpretation. So I don't know. I guess I'd put the odds of his winning right now about 40-60 with 40 being the chances of them winning. I hope it's the other way around because I think he's absolutely right.
Yeah. Well, let's look at, but this is what you hear a lot too. Speaking of legal challenges, the 25th Amendment comes up in a lot of liberal circles. The idea that the president is incapable of holding office. So it's funny because you're someone that studied the Constitution, but we have a lot of constitutional scholars that know a lot about the 25th Amendment right now that said it would apply right now to Donald Trump. What would you say to them? When I say that in air quotes, tongue in cheek.
That is a ridiculous claim, and it is one that is based purely on politics and the fact that they don't like the policies of the president. Look, the 25th Amendment was put in to cover a president who physically or mentally becomes so ill, so sick that he can't carry out his duties. And, the real example everybody uses is President Wilson, right? More than 100 years ago, who had a stroke. And in essence, his wife hid that, and she ran the government for like the last 2 years, ran the White House. And it is not to be used to get rid of a president just because you disagree with him on policy. Maybe you don't like what he's doing in Iraq, but the claim that that's due to some kind of mental illness is obviously not true.
Right. Well, if people wanted to read your work, find you online, things like that, where can they go?
They can go to Advancing American Freedom, and everything I publish will eventually get republished at that website.
And I'll tell you that there's a lot of things to choose from, a lot of things to write about as of late. It is an interesting time that we live in. Hans von Spakovsky, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
By the way, if you haven't followed him online, you have to bookmark it on your computer and just check when there's new articles written. Everything. And I tell you, when I get to fill in and I know Hans is on the schedule, I know I'm going to learn a lot. And he's always so good at handling these legal questions. When we come back, I did want to bring up an opinion piece I saw on the Hill, which is kind of interesting. We may have to do that later. Wiggins America will do this hour too. I'm Ryan Recker. If you want to follow me at Ryan Recker on Twitter, Ryan Recker Radio on Facebook. Don't go anywhere. It's the Andy Fry Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
A lot of front porch sitting where I come from, trying to make a living and working hard to get to heaven where I come from.
Home Shield Foundation Repair, Matt Hayes, the whole team at this local family-owned company right here out of St. Louis. You got the right people on the other end of the line when you call 314-271-9900 for all your foundation repair needs. It's important when you're making an investment in your home, something as important as the foundation, that you're working with somebody who you can trust. Matt Hayes, he's that guy. 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. If it's a basement waterproofing that you need to have checked out, you can call Home Shield Foundation Repair. If it's a uneven or sunken concrete that you need leveled out so you stop tripping over it, or it's a liability when that concrete starts to settle, it becomes a trip hazard. You don't want mom and dad coming over and tripping, and then the rest of that story. Get it fixed once and for all with somebody you can trust. Call Matt Hayes, 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. Online at HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Every day we ask you a different question. It's our YouTube live chat poll question of the day. Today's is, should the United States remain in NATO? It's a simple yes or no, but of course a lot would go into that decision. You can vote by logging on to, it's the way old people say it. You go to YouTube and then you type in Annie Fry Show. Today's date will come up. The poll is right there. That's how you vote. That's also how you comment. Another way to comment, I'm going to read a couple here from our text line, 314-241-9797. This one says, no to NATO. Several members proved they weren't reliable, violated Article 5. Another person just texted in, NATO and the United Nations have become shadow voices. Trump doesn't hide in the shadows. I think that's basically a no. What do you think? Let us know. We're monitoring both that text line and the stream. You can comment and vote on the stream, and you can comment on the text line. 1231, this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. Cutting through the spin. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
That's just so good that I was really hoping, Ryan Wiggins, you can help me understand what I'm listening to. Can we play clip number 1? This is a Canadian government official that's naming the new letters that are involved. It's no longer LGB. Listen to the new updated version of this, if we could.
Deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2S LGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
There's
a lot of letters there.
Did you write that down?
Okay, I have it written down because someone had to translate it, but the person spouted that off so fast that it wasn't even a hesitation. They knew everything that belonged in that series of letters. Can we play that clip again? Now, everyone listen very carefully and tell me how many of these letters you can pick up on.
Deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2S LGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent.
Okay. Is there a genocide in Canada going on right now of okay, the only reason I know this because it's written down MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA+. Whew. You know what that sounds like is when you're trying to read like the router password that was randomly generated to someone so they can log into the Wi-Fi. That's what it sounds like.
Maybe that's what it is. Because I think, well, first of all, there's 2 Qs, and I would figure I would know what one of them is, but I don't know what the other one is.
What does that all stand for?
And then there's also at the end a plus. Now, I may be missing the mark here. But I thought the point of having the plus was that you didn't have to say all of them because there's gender is a spectrum and there's no way that most people are going to fall into any box at all. So saying plus is just like saying all of the rest.
Right. And there's a number in there too. What does that mean? And
2 is two-spirit. I know that one.
Oh, got it. Okay. So
I don't know what it means, but I do know that.
So in the example of like QQ next to each other, does that mean one Q is more important than the other one? That means there's one that is considered the superior of the Qs? Is that possible? They have like a hierarchy of
they
oppression?
certainly do have a hierarchy of oppression. That is a fact. It's called intersectionality. It exists. But
what?
Yeah. Look up intersectionality next time you have a minute. You'll love it. Because it's the hierarchy of victimhood is what it is. Mm-hmm. But this is all within. Usually, it's what race are you? Are you recently? Have you recently come to the United States? Are you an immigrant? All these different factors. Are you a woman? Are you of color? And then, of course, your sexual orientation. But all of these are sexual orientations. So how do you parse between them? I don't know.
Right. So, Ryan Wiggins, is there anything on that? Let's say there's a whole checklist of things. Anything that you can check off on there that would help your status when it comes to the victimhood totem pole?
Well, I don't know what all of them mean, but I think the M would probably be man. And so that would be me.
M-M-I. There's 2 M's in a row. So what would the other M be?
Masculine man.
Masculine man. MM. That sounds like a superhero, a real lame one. A masculine man.
Masculine man is just some guy who works out at Club Fitness 3 times a week. W, I think we could go for W because
Wiggins.
That's Wiggins.
All right.
2.
They include you. That's so nice.
They just include me as one of the sexual orientations. Do you think that they did that? I think they did.
Yeah, I think
at least this
too.
guy. That's the other thing about this guy is that he's said this 1,000 times already.
Oh,
he didn't have to rehearse it. Oh, it was a lady? Oh, okay.
I don't know. It could go either way. Can we listen to the clip one more time? Because there's so many
yeah, now
letters.
We need to know.
Okay, without looking, before you play it, how many letter number combinations are there? We're going to put the over-under at, well, just guess. Without looking, how many letters plus numbers are in this string of characters?
Deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2S LGBTQQIA+. This is abhorrent.
I count 16. I think that's what it is. And obviously they're leaving people out because the plus sign is in there.
I wonder how that person identifies among that spectrum. Oh, T is in there, so maybe trans. I can't tell. I really would like to know what the 2 Qs are and what the genocide is because I don't know what that is either.
So imagine being in a college classroom today and you're a professor and you have to deal with people that identify like this and you have to be sensitive to them and you don't know what any of this means. Imagine trying to live in today's world where this is like common ground on college campuses.
Were you
I couldn't survive.
Openly conservative in college?
Yeah, I was. Yes. And I remember back when, so I wanted to get into talk radio when I was, at the college radio station. And of course, when it came to talk radio, the only options were like conservative talk show hosts, but I was always like that anyway. So, I'd talk about them. And then I realized there was a lot of people that hate conservatives. And I openly talked about all this. Now, keep in mind, this is George W. Bush time. And there's a lot of, He's the dumbest human ever, and all this is pretty tame compared to what we see in today's political world. So I think things would be different if I was in college today versus, early 2000s.
I do too. And I was openly conservative in college too. I went to SIUE for 2 years here, but it felt like I didn't really cross into that world much when I was in my undergrad. When I got into my area of study, which was journalism and communications, so obviously I was very much a minority. I was hated by a couple of my professors for sure because I would speak out on things, but I was pretty deliberate about my questions. I'm going to go the other direction from what you just said, though. I almost wonder if it would be easier to be a conservative on college campuses now because the left has gone so far that asking just basic questions would sound conservative and also rational. To the average listener might go, well, I'm kind of with that guy. Like that kind of stuff you just played.
Okay, so I found the acronym and what it stands for. Do you want me to read it to you so you can kind of get an idea?
Please, educate.
Missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and two-spirited lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, and asexual plus.
Wait, a sexual orientation isn't missing or murdered.
There's so many other questions that come up with that, but I feel it's best to
They threw all that in with gay and transgender and bisexual. They're like, also a sexuality is that you were murdered?
Yeah, I don't know.
What was the two Qs?
It was queer and questioning.
Questioning.
Right.
So the rest of the people, so if you've landed on one of these things, well, unless it's murdered, because then I don't really know if we can ask you questions. But if you were landing on any of these, then you're for sure that, because if you're questioning, you're not sure of any of it.
So you can identify as missing and murdered?
Well, that's what it sounded like.
I think that's more like a legal term. Like this is, you either are or you're not. Or is that just too binary thinking that I just don't understand?
That flies in the face of its own logic.
How did they get in there? And I feel like that should be its own thing, where because that is a very serious thing. Of course, indigenous tribes that have seen some pretty nasty things that happen to them over the years.
Indigenous was one of them? That's not a sexuality?
But I think that's where they're adding it into the mix because we're talking about, in some cases, people. It's not so much about a sexuality. Maybe they're looking at it as a, how do you put it? It's like, here's the people that have been persecuted over the years. So is that what they're doing?
Hang on. I'm pulling up a comment here from our stream. This is somebody who is saying, yes, Ryan, I don't know whether they're talking to me or you, but yes, Ryan, the complaint was that too many of the queer population have been murdered or gone missing. That I understand that, but then you would say missing or murdered WG2SL LGBTQQIA plus. You wouldn't add those things into the acronym.
What's the point of this is two separate things, it seems like. But either way, that was one of the viral videos that are going on in Canada right now. And I see this been posted over and over again on social media. We might have to revisit this later because I know we only have so much time. But I wanted to ask you another thing, and this is kind of what I found another trend. Have you seen the story? And I know most people are following the serial rape defendant case that's happening here in St. Louis. Have you been following this one?
It doesn't strike me yet. Tell me, and maybe I have seen it.
So this is a fascinating case. So a Baldwin man accused of using dating apps to lure women and rape them took the stand in his own defense on Wednesday. This is out of Clayton. Fox 2 write-up is the one I'm going with. And the defendant on there said he was actually the one that was pursued. The women are the ones that are the aggressors, and he is not the problem. So I guess there's like 7 or so women that came forward to say that they were sexually assaulted and some of them raped using this dating app to hook up with these different men. And they were taken advantage of through the connections of this dating app by this one individual, Yaya Mal. I'm saying the name wrong, I'm sure. 7 victims were the aggressors. He said he's actually the victim in this case. So he's kind of like flipping it around. And I'm just going to say this as a broad statement because it may not be fair to bring it up in the context of this. But isn't this what they're seeing in Europe right now? basically the same defense of people that have been flooding the European countries from other countries, saying that they were persecuted where they were, but you have a lot of times illegal immigration into these European countries, and then they commit a crime, sometimes sexual in nature, and then they bring up this exact same defense. Is that, are you seeing the similarities there?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen this subject. I mean, this sounds like national news that is local. I've not seen much about it.
Right.
No, this is maybe he's actually taking the playbook from Europe and saying, well, this is how they're getting off. I'll just try to use the same defense.
Yeah, and some of these things you see, and it really breaks your heart when you look at these countries in Europe and you find these people that were victims of, assault, sexual assault, some cases family members standing up in front of other family on behalf of other family members who were murdered, and they go through the court system and it's like a slap on the wrist because they're not citizens of that country, or they're looked at as, oh, they didn't know what they're doing. Or in some cases the defense that they're using is they couldn't help themselves because in their culture, if a woman dressed like this, then this is how they would act. So when they come to us, they don't know that it's wrong for them to do that here in our country, so they put leniency onto these people that are committing some very serious and heinous crimes. And I think this is why you got to stop that from coming into the United States, because we can't have that way of thinking, because we can't devolve ourselves into a society where the defense is they were asking for it, which is the defense that essentially that they're seeing in Europe. And when cases like this is what bothers me when I read these types of cases, because it sounds very similar to what we're seeing in these other countries.
Well, this is what the loss of objective truth looks like played out in real time. As we've said before, if you ask somebody, is murder wrong? Most people would say yes. If you ask somebody, is rape wrong? You'd say yes. The problem is that nobody can answer why those things are wrong without some sort of, as you would probably agree with me here, some sort of higher power saying this is objectively right and wrong. And we're talking about, in this country, it's been a Judeo-Christian ethic that has determined objective truth. And these are basic things. I mean, we're talking about, is rape or murder wrong? Like, yes, that's pretty obvious. But then it gets into the court and you start going, well, hang on a second. Yes, I think it's wrong, but culturally speaking, maybe it's okay because they were taught differently. No, that's not true. If you have objective truth, they are not following it and they need to be punished. But we've lost that because we don't believe in any sort of objectivity to anything.
Yeah. And I don't know how this case is going to end up, the one here. And I'm only saying I see similarities. I'm not saying it's the same thing. But they go down and they're talking about how these victims are in there. And, these poor women are crying and having to leave the courtroom when they're hearing him describe that they're the ones that were the problem in all of this after everything that happened. It's tough. It's really tough. So I don't know if I don't know if a judge is going to buy it, but we're going to see a lot, I think, more with this case. It's a fascinating one. And I know we have Wiggins America coming up. We're running a little bit late, but I love Wiggins America. Can't wait for it. Coming up on the Andy Fry Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Part of the show. Every weekend, I take your calls as we talk about smartphones, artificial intelligence, security, and trends that change every single day. It's the Kim Commando Show, every Sunday from 3 to 4.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. License number GL250000615.
We've seen all kinds of clogs, so remember the rule. Only flush 3 things. Number 1, number 2, and toilet paper.
What about my dinosaurs?
No?
My monster truck?
Nope.
What about...
If it's not the big 3, don't flush it.
But if someone does flush a dinosaur...
Call Grasser. We clear the clog and get things moving again.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
Annie Fry is St. Louis conservative.
Tastes like strawberries on a summer evening, and it sounds just like a song. I want more.
It's the Annie Fry Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry. Ryan Wiggins, do you steal your kids' Easter candy without telling them?
I feel convicted about it, and yes.
I do too. If I were to ask them, they wouldn't give it to me. But obviously, it's my candy. They're just allowed to eat it, pretending it's theirs.
That's true. It's the same as true with Halloween candy, except that I didn't buy the Halloween candy. With the Easter candy, I bought it.
Yeah, I don't know why they feel so offended when I tell them, hey, I ate one of your Easter candies, and they act like they're, going to pass out with so much rage. So I don't even tell them. I just eat it, and they don't know. Well, what are they going to do about it, huh? They're too young to fight me for it.
Yeah, as long as you can overpower them, you can do anything you want.
Yeah, just for that, kids, I'm going to take away all sweets in this house. We're done. It's broccoli from here on out. I hope you like steamed broccoli for your snack.
Yeah, you can eat the green fake grass.
You can have the grass. It's yours in the basket. Mom said save it for next year.
Yep.
Don't eat all of it. Okay. You want to do Wiggins America?
Let's go.
Wiggins!
Oh! Wiggins! All right, this is about a digital detox from your phone. In light of the court case that's happening right now against Facebook/Meta, I think a couple other ones, although Meta has been getting most of the attention. There was a young woman who gave testimony in that case that has, I don't want to say gone viral, but it's got a lot of attention for what she was saying about what social media in particular did to her life. And Ryan, I want to see whether you think, there's a lot of veracity to this, or no, it's there should be more accountability on the part of the individual here, or if it's somewhere in between. But she says she began as a child, she said, and over time, the habit expanded to fill nearly every available hour, late nights bleeding into early mornings, sleep gradually displaced. She would try to stop and find herself returning in a loop she could not escape, in her words. As her use of socials intensified, so did her distress, anxiety, depression, and a growing fixation on her appearance. Quote, I wanted to be on it all the time, said the 20-year-old. She testified in this landmark trial against Meta and YouTube before jury found that the companies, they did find the companies were negligent and ordered them to pay her $6 million in damages. The verdict in California and another case in New Mexico last month mark a turning point in the long-running effort to hold Silicon Valley companies accountable for products critics say are engineered to be as addictive as tobacco or gambling. What do you think, Ryan Recker?
I think there's a lot of truth to that. So let's say, hypothetically, at the start of every Annie Fry show, we hired a hypnotist to put everyone in a trance. And the only thing they were allowed to do during these 3 hours were to listen to this radio program. They could do nothing else. I'm sure that social media has their hypnotists. They know what they're doing, how to get you hooked. They know how to manipulate your brain. They know how to take advantage of young people. All of these things they did purposely in order to get them to stay on their platform, much like we would hire a hypnotist for. That would be not ethical for us to do that. So, yes, I side with her. I think she's absolutely right. She was set up into this system that was meant to manipulate her.
Ethan, what do you think about that? You're closer to the age that we're talking about here. She was only in her teens and 20s, early 20s talking about it, but she's barely out of that now. Ryan Recker and I are in our 40s, so we would respond to this a little bit differently. What do you think?
Dude, it's scary. It's scary stuff out here. I mean, I am absolutely hooked to Twitter. I'm pretty much off of everything else because I deleted the apps. But for what I want to get into, which is the sports field, which I would say getting into, Twitter is really important to be active on and to try and build a following on. And I'm thankful to say that I am starting to build a little bit of a following on Twitter, but it's also super easy to doom scroll and just quite literally live on it. I mean, I am on it all the time. Now, it doesn't help that, like, anytime there's downtime here at work or, you're in between or, I pull a lot of audio for both shows, for Annie show, for Mark's show.
We do have a professional reason to be on it.
There is a lot of like, okay, all right, I'm just going to click on the Twitter tab and scroll for a minute while this thing is recording or whatever. Yeah. That happens so often that all of a sudden by the end of the day, I'm like, I probably spent 6 to 8 hours alone on Twitter today. I don't know how exactly, I guess they found a way, and it sounds like there's going to be ways to be able to sue these companies. I don't know how you'd be able to, I guess, do that. Like, I still don't understand how they were able to get all this money out of it, but it is a scary reality check that there are so many people my age that are hooked way worse than I am.
Mm-hmm. The article goes on to talk about how there are now programs that exist that can make your smartphone into a dumb phone on purpose for certain hours of the day or for certain times of the week and things like that. But I've evolved on this issue. Just to conclude, as we wrap up the segment here, I used to, and I still would say when I read a story like this woman, I would think, well, where are your parents? If you are all day and night on your phone, there's got to be somebody stepping into your life that's able to tell you can't do that. However, if I as an adult find myself doing exactly what you just said, Ethan, and being completely addicted to just scrolling, doom scrolling, and I can't control it, I just deleted Twitter off my phone, actually, which I'll do once every few months just to give myself a break. If I can't control it, how do I expect a teenager to control themselves? And the companies do need to be held accountable.
That's the scary part is that you have kids. Eventually, I'm going to have kids. It's like, okay, I better get this together at some point. Otherwise, my kids are going to be the same way, and I don't want that.
You think there'll be some sort of social sobriety that happens at some point in the future?
I think it started.
I think it started. You're listening to the Annie Fry Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar high.
AirComfortService.com. That's the website. Easy to remember. 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. I want to talk to you about the Air Comfort Service Preferred Partner Plan. You get regularly scheduled heating and cooling system checks. They're going to check the entire system twice a year, which means the heater, the furnace, and the AC. They're going to get looked over to make sure there aren't any issues that you're facing. Plus, you're going to get discounts on diagnostic calls and repair. So if something does creep up, you're going to be able to save a little bit on the top there. With that discount, it's going to save you money. It's going to make the preferred partner plan monthly payment there so smart, so simple. You're also going to receive a discount on new equipment if you have to make a replacement and priority service. Why not cut to the front of the line? You deserve it. A preferred partner plan from Air Comfort Service starts at only $19 a month. And you pay monthly, you get your 12th month free. Call them at 314-513-0091. That's 513-0091. Tell them Annie sent you online at aircomfortservice.com.
The Biz Dash 5K, presented by Worldwide Technology, is back. Produced by the St. Louis Sports Commission, this high-energy corporate race is St. Louis's healthiest happy hour, combining fitness, fun, and unbeatable team bonding for companies of every size. Runners and walkers of all levels are welcome. It all comes together at Energizer Park Thursday, May 7th in downtown St. Louis. An office party like no other. Create your company team today at stlbizdash.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Spring is here in St. Louis, and if you're thinking about selling, now's the time. But timing is only part of it. Hey, it's Mark Cox, and I'm with Gloria Liu, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria, why is it still so important to choose the right realtor?
Simple. Not every home is selling fast or for top dollar. Here's the difference. I already have the buyers. With over 2,400 buyers in waiting, I'm not just listing your home. I'm matching it with demand. That's how I offer my guaranteed sale program. We sit down, agree on the price and timeline, and if your home doesn't sell, I'll buy it myself. But my goal isn't to buy your home. It's to sell it for the most money possible in the least amount of time. And that's exactly what my system does. My clients don't have to hope their home sells. I guarantee it.
If you're selling your home this spring, call the one I trust, Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to rbastl.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
A possible boost for peace. I'm Carmen Roberts, Fox News. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu authorizes direct talks with Lebanon as soon as possible. Fox's Trey Yingst has more from Tel Aviv.
The Prime Minister said in a statement the negotiations will focus on the disarmament of Hezbollah and the regulation of peaceful relations between Israel and Lebanon. Israel appreciates the call made today by the Prime Minister of Lebanon to demilitarize Beirut. This does come after Israel launched a series of strikes yesterday targeting Hezbollah across the country, and earlier a new warning by Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian about these Israeli strikes in Lebanon that said, in part, the continuation of these aggressions will render negotiations meaningless.
Lebanon's health ministry says more than 300 people died in yesterday's airstrikes. Netanyahu's announcement came amid a disagreement over whether the ceasefire deal with Iran included Lebanon. Talks are reportedly set to begin next week in Washington. Democrats are growing bolder on talk about removing President Trump from office after he threatened to wipe out Iran to end a whole civilization. Democratic Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs is urging Republicans to take action.
They should come back. They should realize that their president is putting us in harm's way, is making us less safe, and they should also be demanding impeachment. They should also be demanding the 25th Amendment.
That amendment allows the cabinet to remove the president from power if it's determined he's unable to discharge the duties of his office. Drawing closer to Earth, the Artemis II astronauts tidied up their lunar cruiser for the upcoming Fireball return Friday night and reflected on their historic journey around the moon. Pilot Victor Glover.
Gosh, I haven't even begun to process what we've been through. We've still got 2 more days. And riding a fireball through the atmosphere is profound as well.
America's listening to Fox News.
I didn't switch to Pure Talk just because I wanted to save 50% off the same 5G service I'd been paying twice as much for. I switched because I like the idea of being in business with a wireless company that supports our veterans in a meaningful way. Pure Talk also creates American jobs every day by keeping their entire operation in this country. I appreciate that. If you feel the same, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
I move mountains for a living. Literally.
That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolade spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Springtime afternoon around town. Sunshine in control. The high about 79 degrees. Partly cloudy this evening and some increasing clouds overnight. 61 for the low. Friday, clouds take over with scattered showers and a couple of non-severe thunderstorms developing during Friday afternoon. That continues well into Friday night. High on Friday, 73. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 56 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance and installation, and heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. AirComfortService.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Rain.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
You know, going back, Wiggins, what you had with Wiggins America. So looking at addiction when it comes to social media and some of the lawsuits that we're seeing with it, what do you think's worse? The addiction to the doom scrolling social media apps or the gambling apps? Because I almost see the gambling as being worse, and we're taking on, I think, a worse addiction with it.
I don't know, because I don't really get into the gambling side, and I don't know anybody who is addicted to it. I'm sure that there are people in my life who just, we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
So it's possible, but
that takes over people's lives too. You know,
I guess so. I don't really know anybody though, so I can't say that it's worse without seeing it happen.
Okay. I guess one is a time factor. The other is a let's lose our entire savings factor.
Yeah.
So
that's what happened to Norm Macdonald.
Oh, I know. And you didn't really learn about that. I guess people that knew him knew that's what he did. But people that have too much money, Charles Barkley, they get into these gambling ruts. Didn't Michael Jordan have an issue, allegedly, when it came to that? And that's the reason why he sat out that year. Wasn't there everyone has different, I guess, rumors and stories they hear about, professional athletes. And then there's some athletes that, like in the Cleveland Indians this year, Guardians, there was like 2 pitchers on that team that got busted gambling when, they're on the roster. They can't do that. I know we're monitoring that in California. They're going to have a press conference regarding the massive fraud that went on in that state. Okay, it's California. Is there a chance that they're going to audit this properly? Or do you think that outside of the federal interventions, there's no way you can trust them to get to the bottom and rooting out fraud?
Well, that's a good question, because the governor of the state has basically made fun of efforts to stop it. So I can't imagine that he's going to be that serious about stopping it. But he probably has realized, because he's a very slick politician, Gavin Newsom, he's probably realized at some point that he's going to have to pay it lip service to say that, well, we're on it. You guys always say that we don't care, but here's our task force, and we gave a press conference, and we're rooting it out, but they won't really do anything.
So is Gavin Newsom a West Coast Bill Clinton?
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
It's a West Coast Clinton. So we've seen some of those. Hey, by the way, what about the vehicle that hit the overhead sign over on 64 in Caseyville last night? Did you see the video of that?
I did see that, and I don't know how you could bring a sign down in that way, because it kind of crumpled in the middle.
Right.
It's one of those signs that goes over the whole road and tells you, which interstate and all that. And it was like the middle of the thing had V'd down and come down onto the road.
It's almost like something hit it and it tried to drag it with it, but it was strong enough not to be dragged. Probably like swung back and crashed down. But I look at that, and the first thing I thought was, oh, this is AI. I didn't believe it. Like I had to examine it closer and realize, oh, wait a minute, this isn't AI. This actually happened. A full lane closure. The 64, all lanes closed because of that last night. It was pretty crazy. 11 p.m. the incident occurred and involved a tractor trailer. And I got to tell you, just looking at the videos and things like that, man, they really dinged it, man. They got it. I hope they had their insurance on the U-Haul, put it that way.
Oh, was it a U-Haul?
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
When I see that, I think about all the U-Hauls that get stuck under bridges and things, people that aren't used to driving vehicles that large. Do we know anything about the driver? Was that a Somali driver by any chance? Do we know?
I know nothing. I saw the video and the pictures just like you did, and other than that, I know nothing about it.
It seems like a lot of commercial traffic goes right under that sign, no problem. Why was this one different?
Yeah, what's the difference in height of this random truck? Unless they're saying that it was somebody who went off the road and hit the pole and didn't drag it down from the middle.
It doesn't look like the pole was hit, though. And it
know.
looks like, yeah, it snapped on the bottom, kind of where it buckled in there. But I'm sure we'll hear more about that as time goes by. I just found that one really fascinating. I saw this one opinion piece that was written in The Hill, and I wanted to read you this headline. Trump lost his nerve and surrendered to a beaten Iran. So let's just look at that as the surface. United States goes in, boom, 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 targeted strikes, taking out all the critical parts that were necessary to make nukes. This is months and months ago. Okay. We realize that they're still trying to enrich, they're still trying to create these nukes, and they plan imminently to use them because they hate the United States. So Trump goes in again, boom, 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 his targeted sites, boom, boom, boom. Okay. Gets rid of their Air Force, get rid of their Navy, gets rid of it, pretty much wipes them off. Okay. They hit a couple of missiles, retaliatory, but, some of them hit, some don't, but it's mostly intermediate people around that region that had nothing to do with the United States. Iran, by all means, were beaten. This opinion piece by Jonathan Sweets said Trump lost his nerve and surrendered to a beaten Iran. And the reason he's saying that essentially is kind of the way it sounds, that you already beat them. Why are we feeling like we're losing? Because they got the straight and they're holding traffic in the water, and they're kind of like holding us like we're trying to negotiate with them, and they have any means or any tokens to negotiate at this point. They don't have anything left. Why are we even bothering with this? But for some reason, it seems like they're winning because the United States got high gas prices and people don't like the idea of starting a war. Is there a point to be made there?
So the author is not suggesting that we actually are losing. He's saying there's a perception among people that we are.
Is saying that we wanted an unconditional surrender. They're being real hard to deal with right now. So why is the White House even considering negotiations with them? Are they being too difficult to handle? Is this something that we can't handle based on other than complete obliteration?
Well, I would ask somebody who's questioning that what their solution is, because if you want to criticize that we did anything at all, or that we should have bombed and left, and not continued and just kind of like taken out the nuclears every time that they became a problem. Okay, you could make that case. But if he's making the case that from right now that Trump should have done more, I'm not really sure what we would do other than actually start to station our troops there and fight a ground war. So when people criticize that, I got to know where they're coming from and what angle they're saying would have been better from this point.
Yeah. I don't know. Basically, Iran, who's Trump negotiating with right now, by the way? Do we know? Because you take out all the leaders, and then the second wave of leaders and the third wave of leaders, who is actually in the chair to negotiate anything? So that's the big question. Are you going to hand the keys over to someone that you're talking to, and there might be other groups that want to step in with that big vacuum, that void that's there? Is that what we're dealing with right now? And are they even the ones that would be the ones that can handle a situation, a transfer and something like that? Or are we just going to have to go and bomb them too if they come back? It's the same thing that we're kind of seeing in Venezuela. There's other oppositions out there, so you give it to the one that's the leading of the oppositions from the Maduro camp. I don't know. There's so many questions left with this. Can I say I'm glad we have a live feed going on right now, because I can look at the TV behind you to tell when that press conference is going to start. That's the only way I can tell is watching our live feed.
Yeah.
Going back, just people listening here, by the way, we're kind of waiting to see what's happening in California. We might dip in and cover some of the fraud that they uncovered. They're supposed to have a big press conference on that. I think we have Jared Halpern, Fox News Radio, that's going to join us here in a couple minutes too. Sorry, we're juggling a couple of things, but the Iran thing is, of course, still the big thing because it's driving, oil prices, is driving the stock market. It's driving people's worries about war, the future. This is what's driving everyone's thoughts right now.
It's also driving the news cycle, and it has been for probably 4 weeks or more because we're all looking at the gas pump going, man, when's this going to end? And it does need to end. But I'm interested to see what this AG of California is going to say, because if she actually is uncovering anything, then you could say that the pendulum swung and for the better. Even if it's not everything and they're trying to uncover some things, I would still take that as a partial win.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll see. We'll see what she says. I don't know that.
There's just so much uncertainty. And I don't know if Jared Halpern's, he's not really going to cover that. He covers President Trump, so we can talk more about Iran. To me, I feel like if you're someone like Donald Trump, you like clean in, clean out. You just want to get done in a short amount of time. You don't want to drag this out. How long has Iran been going on? You said it's been about 4 weeks. Man, you forget about how long these things have been going. I think he knew it would last this long, but he gave the impression that it wasn't. He thought just, if we can collapse all these different institutions that are in that country, with it being collapsed, there's going to be no one to oppose what we want them to do. But it seems like with social media, they're going to find some opposition in there. They're going to call themselves a leader, whatever it is. But if I was in Iran right now and I called myself a leader, I'd be a little bit afraid because I know there's a bomb headed my way right about now. Yeah. All right, so it looks like we have to go to break. Is that about right? It doesn't look like the Attorney General's ready to go in California. Jared Halpern, Fox News Radio, is going to join us after the break, and we'll talk more with him on the Andy Fry Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Many times, a person hires a law firm after an injury without doing research. It can be a big mistake or not. Sometimes, after you have hired a certain lawyer, you realize you made a certain mistake. But guess what? Just because you hire them doesn't mean you can't fire them. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you think you've hired the wrong firm, you may have. So do this. Google Morgan & Morgan results or visit forthepeople.com for cases just like yours. You may find that our full-service injury firm should have been your choice in the first place. Last year, almost 12,000 people discharged their law firm and hired us after further research. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. Visit forthepeople.com today and let's get started. Or call Pound Law on your cell phone. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Triton Exteriors, St. Louis Roofing, Siding, and Gutter Systems. We'll take care of you and your home. We're #1 in the Ladue, Kirkwood, and Webster area. James Hardy certified. Visit triton.stl.com to be connected with a James Hardy expert and receive a free estimate. Triton-stl.com or call 314-717-1159. That's 314-717-1159. Triton Exteriors, St. Louis #1 James Hardy specialists. What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
And welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Joining us now from Fox News Radio, Jared Halpern. Hello, sir.
How are you? Good afternoon.
Good. Well, I know you cover the president. I'm just curious. There's been a lot of people that talk about the 25th Amendment on the mostly liberal people. Do you think this even phases him? Is there even a sign that when people bring this up and it makes headlines, it even bothers him?
I don't think it bothers him any more than it bothered President Biden when conservatives brought it up.
Yeah. So it's kind of a mute point
Which
because
is to
it
say
feels
it
like
doesn't.
I mean, they tried to impeach him how many different times then? And well, they did, but they, tried to.
Well, he was impeached twice.
Ways.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, listen, the 25th Amendment is really a amendment that is designed for succession. It answers the question of what happens not just if a president dies in office, but is unable to serve, is incapacitated in some way. But it's got a really high bar. You need to have a majority vote of the cabinet. You have to have the vice president on board, the Speaker of the House. It requires a lot of movement. So, listen, even if if Democrats take control in November, it's not going to change any of that. The president will remain president so long as he wants to remain president.
And, another thing that's been going on a lot lately, and we'll get to Iran here in a second, but the NATO thing is interesting, too. So,
well, it's
Donald
connected
Trump
to Iran. This is another thing in which Congress actually does have. In fact, there was a law passed a couple of years ago. It was co-sponsored by then Senator, now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, coincidentally, that says that the withdrawal of NATO, the withdrawal of the U.S. from NATO would require either essentially, I think, 2/3 vote by the Senate. It would be the same as ratifying a treaty, or a majority House and the Senate. There's also a process. It would, there's a timeline attached to it. So, from a practical standpoint, President Trump cannot unilaterally remove the United States from NATO, but he could, as Commander-in-Chief, remove U.S. troops that are stationed in, say, Germany or the U.K. or Italy or Spain. We have a lot of joint bases in Western Europe and Eastern Europe, too, but mostly in Western Europe. And as Commander-in-Chief, the President could remove those troops. As Commander-in-Chief, the President could choose not to deploy troops to NATO operations or NATO training. So he could remove formally the United States from NATO, but he certainly could, from a practical standpoint, I suppose, greatly diminish the U.S. role in NATO.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this is, the United States saw this opportunity, and we know Iran has been a problem for a long time. No one's really been, I guess, bold enough to do something about it. So United States goes in and says, listen, we're going to take lead and we're going to do this. He was hoping NATO would back him up. And it seems
but he never asked NATO to do that.
Right. But
there was no consultation with NATO.
Right. Well, that's the thing.
And
it's
that's
after
their
the
argument.
Fact.
Their argument is you got into a war. NATO is also a defensive alliance. It's not an offensive alliance. So just because a NATO country goes into combat operations doesn't mean every NATO ally joins them. I mean, in 2003, when the United States went into Iraq, a lot of NATO countries, France, famously did not join the United States. And that was different than Afghanistan, which was a NATO mission. It's the only time NATO has invoked Article 5, because that was in a response to a direct attack on the United States. So NATO countries view this differently, certainly, than President Trump. And I think it's also important to remember that, these prime ministers and presidents of NATO countries are politicians, too, and have a domestic audience. And the U.S.-Israeli strikes in Iran are not very popular in these European countries. And if you are the leader of one of these European countries, you have a domestic issue with some of this, right? Now, we heard from Mark Rutte today that after he met with President Trump yesterday, that NATO could play a role in kind of policing the Hormuz Strait, defending the Hormuz Strait. But I think that, again, is going to be more of a volunteer operation where you see maybe some NATO countries join and others, opt not to.
Yeah, and I think the big question that Donald Trump has is, what are you good for? And I think a lot of people are wondering, well, wait a minute, okay, everything that we put into this, and as the United States funding-wise, what are they good for then if they're not going to help at a time where we all know Iran's bad news?
Because again, NATO didn't. There wasn't consensus among NATO countries on using military force. There was still a belief from a lot of NATO countries that diplomacy could run its course, had not been exhausted. That's why a lot of times in run-ups to U.S. Conflicts, you see kind of that diplomatic effort to build a coalition. And sometimes it's successful and sometimes it's not. But from the perspective, at least, of some of these NATO leaders, their argument is there was really no process here of consultation, that this was never a NATO operation. It was a unilateral, a bilateral operation between the U.S. and Israel.
Yeah, Donald Trump really did the Leroy Jenkins move here. Which is kind of a dated reference at this point.
I got it. Yeah, no, it's fine.
It seems to work out okay. All right, so based on where we sit with Iran today, and I mean, negotiations, they say negotiations are going on. It sounds like J.D. Vance is going to be involved, and same thing with neighboring countries.
Yeah, this is, and again, I think there is a bit of an urgency because this ceasefire is now in its second day. It is still really fragile, right? Iran and the United States seem to view the conditions of this ceasefire differently, and that's not good. So the first step is to kind of make sure everybody understands each other and what's expected of them. And this is going to take kind of center stage in Islamabad, Pakistan, over the weekend. J.D. Vance, who, by the way, just got back from Hungary, like very early this morning, will get back on Air Force Two, get more frequent flyer miles, and make his way to Pakistan with Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff. And Pakistan has kind of been acting as the mediator, and so they're going to host these, what I think are expected to be direct talks between the U.S. and Iranian delegations over the weekend. And again, some urgency, one, because this is only a 2-week ceasefire, and two, we have seen, at least in the first 2 days, that it is a pretty fragile ceasefire as it relates to reopening the Strait of Hormuz, as it relates to expanded strikes in Lebanon, and whether or not Lebanon was part of the agreement. Iran says it is. We heard from J.D. Vance yesterday that it was not. At the same time, it does seem that President Trump is trying to put some pressure on the Israelis, on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, to ease up in Lebanon. The Prime Minister today announced that they will have talks next week, I think here in Washington, between Israel and the official Lebanese government, not Hezbollah, but the Lebanese government, on kind of working maybe more cooperatively on disarming Hezbollah. So that's a good sign, too. And again, I think it shows that the administration is keen to keep this ceasefire in place and do all that they can to try and achieve the objectives of the ceasefire.
All right. Well, I think a lot of people are watching this from not the aspect of security, but their pocketbook. They don't like the high gas prices. They don't like increasing costs and the long-going efforts of what war means.
I mean, and you saw that play out over the last couple of days, right? Yesterday, crude oil prices dropped like a rock, right? Mm-hmm. Because they had the ceasefire and the strait was supposed to open up, and then very few ships actually got through, and oil prices went back up today. There is an economic side to this, and oftentimes it's that economic price, what folks are paying for gas, for groceries, for any number of things that rely on fuel, that are going to drive public sentiment on a combat operation. And so that's going to be part, I think. Listen, I don't think the president's making these decisions based on politics, but he's also not making them in a vacuum, right? And there are going to be a lot of factors that weigh on a president when they decide these major issues of war and peace.
You know, just in general, and this is more of a observation than a study or anything like that, from what you followed when it comes to President Trump, has he changed much, or is he still the same guy?
Well, I think one of the features of the president certainly in this term, and it was true in his first term as well, is there's always an unpredictability factor. And that is by design. It's not a quirk, right? The president knows that when he throws out this kind of rhetoric about an entire civilization dying, that is strong language, that is going to get a reaction, that people are going to question, boy, is that a real threat or is it a negotiation tactic? And that's uncertainty is part of his negotiation strategy. The White House believes that it was that strong language and the threat that President Trump would follow through on it that ultimately got Iran to agree to a ceasefire, to come to the table. It put pressure on Pakistan and China and other countries to apply that diplomatic pressure on Iran as well. And so I think that it is unpredictable as the president is by design. That is actually a consistency in the way that he has been president over the last, certainly this term, when you talk about tariffs and other issues. But you can go back and look at similar examples in his first term as well.
Yeah. Jared Halpern, if people wanted to look you up online, some of the things you're doing, where can they go?
On X, I am Jared Halpern. Try and keep it easy.
That is easy. You got lucky enough, to grab your name in there while you can, back when Twitter was a new thing.
I think it's a reflection of my age.
Isn't it, though? Getting an email address that's your name, getting a social media handle that's your name, that's like a luxury anymore.
Yeah.
Jared Halpern, Fox News Radio, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Well, it looks like that press conference is just about wrapped up in California. So what did they say? Did they find massive fraud? I guess we'll find out some of that coming up after the break. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry on 97.1 FM Talk.
But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all?
Have you called the Retirement Advisory Group yet? I hope so, but if you haven't, let me throw that number back at you right now, 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. The Retirement Advisory Group, Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw, they are excited to sit down and talk with you in a no-cost to you, no obligation review of your retirement. Stop wondering if you have enough to retire comfortably and call 314-993-9494 and schedule the conversation that's going to give you the answers that you've been looking for. Let the Retirement Advisory Group build you a personalized, structured income plan. All you got to do is call Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw at the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. Call 314-993-9494 and ask them how they can help you get that key to a worry-free retirement. Online right now at retirementkey.com.
Did you know replacing old vinyl windows with more vinyl windows might not be the best choice? Hi, it's Kim, and I'm here to tell you about Infinity from Marvin Windows, because these fiberglass windows, they're energy efficient, they're beautiful, and they're custom built to fit your home perfectly. The team at Lakeside Renovation and Design just makes the process so easy. I love the fact that they even offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. Look, if you're tired of drafts, high energy bills, or maybe hard to open windows, now's the time to upgrade. Visit windowsbylakeside.com to schedule your free consultation today.
Hey guys, are you dealing with low energy weight gain or issues in the bedroom? Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, and they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests with results in about 20 minutes. Get in, get answers, get back to the top of your game. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Again, that's GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Okay, get ready for this. We were just teasing it. The California Attorney General's office just came out and did a short press conference that I was monitoring. It has just ended, but I was monitoring it. It is crazy in many ways. So we're going to play this here in just a minute. Stick around. That's coming up next. It's 1:31. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
From High Ridge to Pontoon Beach, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Shot to the heart, and you're too late, darling. You give love a bad name.
Well, it It just happened minutes ago. California Attorney General Rob Bonta holds a press conference to talk about fraud in the state of California. And Ryan Wiggins, you're telling me that this was a pretty explosive press conference that just happened?
Yeah, what they found and what they said about it and who they're blaming.
Oh,
yeah.
Who they're blaming the fraud on?
Oh, get ready. Get ready.
Okay, let's play this. I'm really curious how this rolled out. Okay. Ooh. Let's take a listen.
Money laundering and identity theft. And yesterday, we successfully executed search and arrest warrants at 10 separate locations and arrested 5 suspects so far throughout Southern California. I'm going to break down the details of this operation in a moment, but first, I just want to make one point very clear. This is just the latest example of the California DOJ's long-standing, ongoing, and successful efforts to combat hospice and Medi-Cal fraud. We have been doing this work for years. We've been doing it successfully before certain people in this country decided to think about it for the first time. We will continue to do this work. Heads down, sleeves rolled up, important investigative work, prosecutorial work. I also want to make clear, this is our case, a California case, from beginning to end. My office worked on it. We worked on it with the Department of Healthcare Services, the Franchise Tax Board, and other partner agencies. This is a California case. We will prosecute this case. We will have it from beginning to end. While healthcare fraud might be President Trump's shiny new political talking point, California DOJ has been going after healthcare fraud since 1979. For decades. Trump is late to the party. Protecting taxpayer dollars and protecting programs sick and vulnerable Californians rely on have been our priority for nearly 5 decades. Our Division of Medicare Fraud and Elder Abuse, also known as DMFEA, is one of the most aggressive and dynamic Medicaid fraud control units in the nation. Just since I came into this office in 2021, DMFEA has conducted nearly 300 hospice-related investigations, filed 119 hospice-related criminal cases, and secured 51 hospice-related convictions. So while some are just starting to discover this issue, we have been on it, holding people accountable, taking down criminal operations. That's just talking about our hospice fraud work, which is only one part of the anti-fraud work DMFEA conducts. Over the last decade, DMFEA has recovered a total of $1.54 billion in civil and criminal Medi-Cal fraud cases. This is our area of expertise. Someone don't lean on the lights. This is our area of expertise. It's our bread and butter. It's what we do. And we will continue to do it. And one of the reasons we're so successful is our partnership with other California agencies. This is collaborative work. This is partnership work. In the case of Operation Skip Trace, that included Governor Newsom and his office. We're grateful to Governor Newsom's leadership and partnership. It included the California Department of Healthcare Services and the California Health and Human Services Agency, which is represented today by Secretary Kim Johnson, who you will hear from in a moment. I am grateful for all of their partnerships. We couldn't do this
Ryan
work
Wiggins,
without
real
them.
quick,
This
while
is a
he's still talking
collective,
here.
joint, collaborative effort.
Can I mention something? Can I read between the lines? He's saying this is a California case. Does that essentially say
a great team effort,
it's a selective case? It is, we're going to selectively pick who we persecute or rather prosecute. Thus, we're only going to take on the things that we want to take on?
Well, what's amazing to me is the Chiron says that $264 million has just been recovered in fraud. He went on to say that $1.54 billion in Medicare fraud had been uncovered by their office. That's great, but if this has been going on, they said, well, we've been doing this since 1979. Obviously, he hasn't been doing that, but there it is, $267 million that they just uncovered in hospice fraud. 21 suspects charged with money laundering and theft, and the scheme involved 14 different fake hospice companies. But we know there's lots more than that. So what he's saying is Trump is late to the game here, which it really hasn't even been Trump. I mean, Trump will talk about it, but it's been more people on the ground in Minnesota and in other states that have been uncovering this more than it's really been a federal government thing. They're doing a task force now with J.D. Vance. But ultimately what he's saying is, well, we're on it. Well, then why has so much fraud ballooned over the last few years, since 2020 even, under your watch, if you're that good at it?
No, they're not. They're not that good at it. And Nick Shirley finds that much money in an afternoon.
No joke.
I mean, literally. And he can uncover these things, but he's uncovering parts of California that California doesn't want to go after because it would find to put legal pressure onto certain groups of people that they don't want to put legal pressure on because it's California. They want to be selective in the way that they handle this sort of thing. So $256 million to brag about that is kind of a joke, honestly, for the amount of resources and the manpower that you'd put onto an investigation like this, that an independent Nick Shirley could find that in an afternoon.
Look, and there is one aspect of truth that they're saying here. They have had, I don't think it's just been this guy being the Attorney General, but the Attorney General's office has been looking into Medicare and Medicaid fraud since 2010 on the record. They probably didn't before that, but you can see that they started opening these cases in 2010. But they haven't really done anything with them until now. This would be one of the first times you've really heard anything about any big arrests or recovering or even, exposing some of the money. I don't know if they'll actually recover it or not. So it's just amazing how they didn't lead with, here's the fraud that we found. They led with President Trump's wrong. Now let me tell you about some other things.
Yeah. Well, he's still talking. Do we want to dip him back up? I'm kind of curious if he's moved on and said anything else here.
California has a no-tolerance policy for fraud. We're laser-focused on rooting out and eradicating fraud that targets our programs, hurts our people, and steals from our state. At California DOJ, that includes the work DMFEA does, day in and day out, to snuff out Medi-Cal fraud, including hospice fraud. To claim this is a uniquely California problem is ludicrous. Just plainly untrue. False. Anywhere there's money flowing, anywhere bad actors sniff out an opportunity to seize ill-gotten gains, there's risk of fraud. In California, yes, and also in every other state. While President Trump, First Assistant Saley, and Dr. Oz try to villainize California to score political points, the truth is that the federal government has also increased oversight into hospice fraud in Texas, in Georgia, and in Ohio.
You know what this reminds me of?
Among other states.
You know that scene in Lethal Weapon where Leslie Nielsen's standing in front of all the fireworks blown up and he's saying, "Nothing to see here, folks." This is what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here, folks.
He's saying that they just uncovered fraud pretty quickly. It sounds like this, they did this pretty fast. At least the $267 million. And also, don't worry about it. We've got it under control. Why are people making such a big deal about it?
Nothing to see here, folks.
Nothing to see here.
But the whole point is he makes it sound like, oh, everyone's singling out California. Well, didn't this start in Minneapolis? Didn't this start in Minnesota? That was pretty much the end of the press conference. But isn't that basically they're saying, okay, if it's so bad in Minneapolis and have been that way for years, how about we take a peek at places where they're even more liberal when it comes to their money? Let's go take a peek and see what's going on in California. I mean, I think every state wants to eliminate fraud and abuse. Mostly Republican states are honest about it because they look at it as a way to say we need to reprioritize our money and we don't want our money going in this location when we could better use it, for services that are legitimate. So in California, they're saying, well, even illegitimate services are legitimate depending on who you talk to, because it may be a persecuted group of people you're taking money from. Even if they're getting it illegally, we don't want to hurt them. So we're going to look the other way. So we'll look at hospice. We'll look at this, and $250 million in the state of California is kind of a joke. I wouldn't be out there spiking the football from something like that. That's not a big find.
Yeah, he's also in this press conference, even though he's trying to not through spin, he's confirming what President Trump and whoever else was talking about it was saying, that fraud does exist. It's massive. It's on a massive scale. It's constantly happening. And so he's confirming that they found fraud and confirming that the people who were looking into it were right. And saying, but why aren't they looking at other states? They are looking at other states. He just confirmed that also, that they're looking at not just blue states. So this isn't political. He's trying everything he's trying. He's proving the Trump administration to be correct on in saying, well, they're also looking at Ohio. They're also looking at Texas. Well, good. It's not like Republicans are like, only do blue states. Republicans, at least the ones I know, are like, I don't care where the fraud's happening, and the friggin' fraud.
Yeah. That's part of the problem, though, when it seems like the government's working against finding those that are committing fraud. And he's out there trying to give this false impression that, oh, we're on top of it and everything's great. Do we really believe that they're going to give it an honest try to root this all out? If it not for task force from the federal government side, you're right, J.D. Vance being involved with that. If it wasn't for that, do we really believe they would take any of this seriously?
Newsom made fun of efforts to find it. So I don't believe that they're serious about ending all hospice fraud. This has been going on for years. They acknowledge that too. And now they're late to the game and saying, look, we're actually doing something, because they've realized that the criticisms against them are totally valid. Why aren't you doing your job?
Yep. Have you seen the approach that the federal government is taking when it comes to subsidies for like Medicare, Medicaid, and how they're now going to handle it with the states? Are you familiar with the way that they're changing these regulations in the next couple of years?
No.
This is really good. I think they found a pretty pragmatic way to make it so the states have the incentive to root out fraud and abuse. And I think it's going to be a very important way. We may have to save this for after the break, because I want to make sure we have some time for it. How's the YouTube poll going, by the way?
Well, I haven't looked at the results yet on purpose, but I can tell you that the comments are, well, they started about 50-50. But the question is, should the United States remain in NATO, yes or no? Oddly enough, I look up and Fox News is talking about this very subject, that one of the heads of NATO is saying, no, we're still valid. We're not, quote, whistling past the graveyard. Mm-hmm. That's happening right now. But the question asking, should the United States remain in NATO, yes or no, the comments have begun to skew very hard toward no. So I haven't seen the results on purpose, because we wait till the end of the show to look at them, but that's what the comments suggest.
Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing that when we get to the end of the show. If you haven't already voted, hop over to the YouTube live chat poll and do that now. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry on 97.1 FM Talk.
97.1 FM Talk in Action is spotlighting Our Ladies Inn, providing safe shelter, care, and support for pregnant women and children facing homelessness. Since 1982, they've helped local families build stable, independent futures. Learn more at OurLadiesInn.org.
If you can sense spring in the air, you're not alone. It's a perfect time to get Corel Roofing Company to come over and give you a free roofing inspection. Mark Cox here. You know, my friend Curtis has been at this a long time. Here's what he can do. If your insurance company has denied coverage for your roof, call Curtis. He specializes in working with insurance companies. You can get a second assessment from them, and often they're able to work with that insurance adjuster to find a way to get it covered. They are honest. They're going to give you a true evaluation of what's going on. Curtis is not going to overcommit on your roofing job. A lot of other companies do this. Curtis feels like quality suffers and customer service drops off. It's important to pay attention to details. Quality materials, quality workmanship. It's certainly what I got when Corel Roofing put a brand new roof on my house. Call 314-222-9529 right now. Tell them Mark Cox told you to call, or go to CorelRoofingCo.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
It's time for you to get to know my friends at Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield, where luxury meets comfort. Mark Cox here. They have a great selection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, craft cocktails, anything you like to drink, cold beer, premium hand-rolled cigars from the finest makers in the world, even private lockers that are available if you choose to. Perfect for date nights or business meetings, and live music every Friday night. Family owned and operated. Check them out in Chesterfield at the District. It's litstl.com.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Annie Fry is St. Louis conservative.
Time I feel alive, and the world I'm turning inside out. Yeah. I'm floating around in ecstasy. So don't stop.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry. All right. I feel bad because I tried during the break to find the specifics on this, and I feel like I'm going to get some details wrong, but the spirit of what I'm saying is correct. So if I get some information wrong, please don't light me up in the comment section. Can I put that disclaimer out there?
It's been put out.
So when it comes to federal funding, in a lot of ways, sometimes there's money that comes from the feds, money that comes from the state, particularly Medicare, Medicaid, just in general, when it comes to funding programs inside the state. There's certain grants that the government will give to the state and to offset a certain percentage of what is needed for that state. And a lot of times, state budgets are very reliant on the federal side of it when it comes to healthcare funding. So what we found is that during the Trump administration here, he had this idea. And the idea is, if you have more than 10% fraud in your program, we're going to cut back on our federal funding, and you're going to have to pay for it. So as opposed to the feds just keep funneling in endless amount of dollars because you say you need more money, if we find out that you're overpaying people, you're underpaying people, you have people that don't qualify in the program, but you're giving them money anyway, you're not vetting people that are here illegally, certain qualifications need to be met to be in the system, but still somehow money gets to them if they don't meet certain qualifications. They have to know, okay, if you can get that number under, let's say, 6%, you're okay. You're going to get the full federal funding. If you get up like to 7 or 8, you're in murky waters. If you're over 8%, then we're going to start clawing back, not necessarily taking back, but clawing back the money that would have been given to you, and you're going to have to find a way to make it up, essentially telling the states that you're going to be paying for the fraud, not us, the federal government. The incentive is for you to root out the mistakes in the system, so the money is reprioritized in a way that's going to the people that actually use it and need it, that are eligible and qualify for it, as opposed to those that don't. So what we're seeing is that's going to start, I believe, in 2027. So states right now have the huge incentive if they're, I think, above 8% when it comes to wrongful payments, fraud. We'll just call it fraud. But if they're up above that, then they're going to be on the hook, which they really don't want to do. So what you see is a lot of times states politicians going back and saying, Donald Trump's going to cut your medical care. And they're blaming it on Donald Trump, when essentially he set up a system that puts the incentive to eliminate the fraud so that doesn't happen.
That's good carrot stick stuff. I like it.
Yeah, that to me makes sense.
And the only thing that doesn't make sense in that to me is that I guess the federal government wants the states to police it more, not just financially, but police it, like law enforcement police it. Because it seems to me like the federal government, if they can find what percent is fraudulent, wouldn't they be able to go in and make those arrests too? Or are they saying, no, we want this to remain a state law enforcement issue?
Yeah. Well, the mistakes can sometimes even be underpayments, meaning that someone did qualify, but they were denied. So that could be a mistake, meaning it might not necessarily be fraud, like the person that's trying to get the benefit is wrongfully trying to apply for it. It means the government didn't do a good job getting the money where it was supposed to go, because sometimes state governments say, well, this person is more marginalized, so they deserve it more than this other person. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. They set up instances like that to be corrected as well. So I find that's going to be a real interesting thing that starts to ramp up, and you're going to see more attacks, I'm sure. Donald Trump is going to take away your health care. They want you to suffer. You know, he's going to take money away from the state. This is money that people really need. Well, when reality, he's trying to save those systems from spending wastefully to people that are entitled to it.
Yeah, it's another great example of knee-jerk morality from the left, leaders of the left anyway, maybe even many of the voters of the left, to say, well, if Trump did it, we must be against it. We don't really know why. Like the border is a great example for basically our entire lifetime until Trump started talking about it. Democrats were for a strong border. And they might have had some different policy positions on amnesty for dreamers and things like that. But for the most part, they believed in a strong border. This is another one of those. Why would you go against people who want to end fraud? Just because it's Trump? Because that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
And in fact, this whole press conference that we just played from the AG, that's exactly what he was saying, is that they basically capitulated and said, yeah, we have to admit that this is an issue, but we don't want to give Trump any credit for it. Mm-hmm. And who knows how hard they're actually going after it either. Yep.
All right. To end the hour here, I have two alien stories. I'm going to see if we can get to both of them.
Ooh, it's a tough pull.
One is a superhero alien that I think we all know and love. It's called Superman. And he came from planet Krypton. And if we can get this clip ready, John Hamm recently did an interview where he discussed that he not only auditioned, but pitched an idea to do a Superman movie starring him as Superman. This is clip number 5.
You told me once you auditioned for Superman 1,000 years ago.
I did.
That was like when you were 30, you said, I think, about.
I was too old. 30. Come on. Nice try. That was, I believe it was the Brandon Routh one? I can't remember. I think
that makes sense. Yeah. It is shocking to me that, like, because there was talk that we were going to be, I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to get geeky for a second.
Buckle up.
Mr. Sinister in that New Mutants film.
That was supposed to happen and didn't. I think there was some corporate craziness that went, and they sold the studio, and Disney bought the studio. It was a lot
dodged the bullet on that one. That was okay. That movie didn't turn out, with all due respect.
Well, listen, I mean, I don't pick them. My pitch for the Superman thing was like, what if Superman was funny like he used to be with Christopher Reeve? And they were like, great idea. We're going to do that 2 more Supermans later. No. So I didn't. Fair enough.
So that was John Hamm. Everyone, I mean, in St. Louis loves John Hamm. John Hamm loves St. Louis. So wouldn't it have been cool to see him as Superman? That would have been great. I would have loved that.
Was that before he was a star, though? Sounds like it was.
When he was 30. Yeah, this was a while ago. Well, how old is John Hamm now? I'd have to look.
Well, if he was auditioning for the Brandon Routh one, that one was about 2005 or 6.
Oh, we're talking around Mad Men area.
Yeah, that's a pretty long time ago.
Yeah, maybe right before Mad Men. Okay, so this was a while ago.
So he's 55 now, okay.
Yeah, so that takes some time. I had a look at John Hamm even during this interview he had. It was on a podcast, and it was with Josh Horowitz. I look at him and say, you could still pull it off, my man. I would watch that movie. And I was not impressed with this most recent Superman, by the way. I thought it was pretty lame, the movie that came out. I actually didn't like it. I would like to see an older Superman, kind of like they did on the WB with the TV series where he's a dad and he's got teenage sons. And it's like, okay, balancing what it's like to be a dad as a superhero and having kids in high school. I thought that was a cool storyline. I would be on board with John Hamm there. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm having such a good time.
Home Shield Foundation Repair, add an S to that. That's the website, homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com. When you call Matt Hayes at 314-271-9900, that's 314-271-9900, Matt Hayes is going to show up with the best team in the business to make sure that that basement gets the waterproofing it deserves. And let's be honest, maybe that you've been postponing. It's time to have somebody you trust come into that basement and give you a full assessment of exactly what it is you're looking at. You probably don't know the full detail of why your basement is leaking, but you have an expert like Matt Hayes come in. He's going to walk you through what you're dealing with and also how he can fix it for you once and for all. And you can trust Home Shield Foundation Repair to do the job right the first time because they're going to give you a lifetime warranty. On top of the great work that their team is going to put into your basement, just give them a call at 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. Call Matt Hayes, tell him Annie sent you, and visit him online at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
This is Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates. You know, the doctors, or just the best doctors to see for your best vision in St. Louis. 314-966-5000, the doctors. They've treated more than 250 doctors. That's more than any other practice. Dr. Greg Birdie, Dr. Ranjan Malhotra, Dr. Robert Bersati, Dr. Andy Royer. 314-966-5000 is their phone number. 314-966-5000. Dr. Birdie, Dr. Malhotra are cornea surgeons and experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye, dry eye, allergy eye, cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, LASIK surgery. The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates, experts. Call for an appointment today, 314-966-5000, or visit them online, youridoc.com, 12990 Manchester Road, quarter mile west of 270. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
He says the lies need to end today. I'm Carmen Roberts. First Lady Melania Trump says she was never friends with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards.
Speaking at the White House a short time ago, the First Lady said she never had a relationship with Epstein.
I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell.
And she is calling on Congress to provide a public hearing for Epstein's victims. A sweeping fraud crackdown in California where authorities arrested several people in a massive hospice fraud scheme.
We successfully executed search and arrest warrants at 10 separate locations and arrested 5 suspects so far throughout Southern California.
State Attorney General Rob Bonta of the state plans to charge 21 people with stealing more than $260 million in a scheme targeting California's Medicaid program. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says he's authorized direct negotiations with Lebanon aimed at disarming the Iranian-backed Hezbollah militants and establishing relations between the two countries. Today's announcement offered a potential boost to ceasefire efforts in the region and comes after a disagreement over whether Lebanon was included in the ceasefire deal with Iran. The U.S. and Israel say it is not. Iran insists it is. America's listening to Fox News.
I didn't switch to Pure Talk just because I wanted to save 50% off the same 5G service I'd been paying twice as much for. I switched because I like the idea of being in business with a wireless company that supports our veterans in a meaningful way. Pure Talk also creates American jobs every day by keeping their entire operation in this country. I appreciate that. If you feel the same, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolade spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Springtime afternoon around town. Sunshine in control. The high about 79 degrees. Partly cloudy this evening and some increasing clouds overnight. 61 for the low. Friday, clouds take over with scattered showers and a couple of non-severe thunderstorms developing during Friday afternoon. That continues well into Friday night. High on Friday, 73. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Get a free air scrubber and breathe healthy indoor air when you replace your HVAC system. Plus, you may qualify for rebates up to $2,600 and 0% financing up to 72 months. For a free estimate, aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Reicher, filling in for Annie Fry. Happy to be with you. And Ryan Wiggins, always good to see you. Do we get to play the custom intro tomorrow because it's Friday tomorrow?
You bet.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Friday at 2 o'clock.
You know, when Brad mentioned that I request it when I'm filling in, I honestly do request it. I do. And I'm glad that you explained it to me last time about what was going down there. So, okay, I'm going to choose your own adventure type of situation here. I had one other alien story that I didn't get to at the end of the last hours. Do you want to start with aliens or do you want to move on?
No, I would like to hear the other alien story.
All right. This is former Representative Matt Gaetz. This is what he said. And he said, speaking on the Benny Show, Gaetz maintained that he had once been told about a secret alien breeding program during his term in office by an unnamed whistleblower, maintained that the goal of the project had been to create human-alien hybrids to make it easier for mankind to communicate with members of the alien race. So he said that he was briefed on this his time in Congress. What do you think? Is it possible?
Wait, so he was actually briefed by intelligence on this subject?
Unnamed whistleblower told him that there was a project to create human-alien hybrids. So he was told by an unnamed source.
Man, I don't know. That's tough. If it's unnamed and in the government, I'm assuming it is somebody within an agency.
Yeah. Well, maybe this adds a little credibility. He said, I had someone come and brief me who was in a military uniform, worked for the United States Army, that was briefing me on the locations of hybrid breeding programs where captured aliens were breeding with humans to create some hybrid race that could engage in intergalactic communication.
Man.
What do you think of that?
There's a lot of layers. I want to know more about how they were breeding because
Like, what do you mean? You want to know how that works?
Yeah, I would like to know how it works. When
Like, do they have the same parts? Is that what you're wondering?
Yeah, do they have the same parts as us when the breeding happens? And then also, how does that let us communicate better with them? Because I don't understand how making Nephilim babies would force better communication with the higher ups.
Well, it's kind of like in some of the superhero movies. Like, let's say Clark Kent mates with Lois Lane, somewhat compatible. The kids have a chance of getting some superpowers because of that. Maybe that's like the superpower.
The superpower would be communication, though. I just don't follow it. And I also wonder why Matt Gaetz? If you're in the military and you're like, you know what, I need to tell somebody about this. It's terrible or it's great. I can't remember. I don't know which one. I'm assuming terrible. I got to tell somebody in Congress. Why do you choose Matt Gaetz? Is he the only one that'll take your call?
Well, they did hearings on this, and he was part, I think, the subcommittee that was.
So was Anna Paulina Luna. She talked about some of this stuff on Rogan.
Yeah.
So but she seems to me like somebody who she's willing to dabble in the kooky stuff, but she's more credible when she's talking about it. Not that Matt Gaetz has no credibility. I'm just saying, I just wish there would be like, think about this. If Senator Lisa Murkowski came out and said this exact thing, wouldn't you be a little bit more interested in it than it's Matt Gaetz?
Yeah, I think so. You know what the interesting thing, too, it said there was allegedly as many as 12 facilities where this had been happening, and all the aliens prefer Barry White to be played when they're mating. Isn't that strange?
Did he say that, Ryan? Did he really say that? That sounds like you made it up.
All the aliens prefer Barry Whites. No, that was not part of the quote, but the 12 facilities were part of the quote.
12 facilities. Man.
So does that mean there are 12 aliens? Do they have one facility per alien, or is there multiple aliens? Are there different types of aliens? Do they all have the right parts? How do they figure this out? Do the aliens consent? Or are we breeding them against their consent? And what happens to their offspring after that?
Yeah. And if the aliens aren't, I'm more interested if the aliens are consenting. Like if they came here to breed with us, why? And how are they trying to attract partners? What does their mating dance look like?
Right. And what if all these UFO sightings are them just trying to retrieve their own people that were stolen for breeding programs?
Ooh.
Like they're like, we're done. We're getting the SOS calls. We don't like where they're sticking things. So we got to go get our buddies back because this is like, this is our number one mission right now. They have their own SEAL Team 6 is up there trying to recapture these aliens.
Here's my next question. If you are Matt Gaetz, or let's say you're not Matt Gaetz, like take him out of the picture. Let's say you're just a random member of Congress. Let's say you're Byron Donalds or something, just whoever, Cat Kamek. And they come to you and they go, as somebody in a military outfit, which doesn't necessarily mean they're legit, but they're trying to look legit anyway. Maybe they are. They come to you and they tell you all this. What do you do with it? Do you just stop? You just go, oh? Like, it seems like you'd say, well, tell me how I find out more. Like, what's next steps? What's the action plan here?
Show me. What about when J.D. Vance, was it last week, was on the podcast, one of the podcasts, and essentially said, I've been trying to get over to Area 51 for a while, just haven't had time yet, but I do want to go there. So maybe there's access available where these things could come out. I don't know.
I'm questioning Area 51 entirely because everybody already knows that it's kind of creepy and weird. I doubt they'd actually do anything there.
Yeah. All right. That was the other alien story.
Okay, thank you.
So there's another thing going on with the Department of Justice says that Pam Bondi won't sit for the oversight deposition on Epstein files. Does that surprise you? Is there anything there that is like, oh, that means something? I don't think that means anything.
No, I think she's just really bad at it and she's done. And actually one of the reasons she is done is because she's bad at it.
Yeah. So the Department of Justice has stated Pam Bondi will not appear at the April 14th deposition since she is no longer Attorney General and was subpoenaed in her capacity as Attorney General, and she said, okay, I'm not in that position anymore. Do you think that has anything to do with her getting fired and or leaving for the quote-unquote private sector?
Well, no. I just think that she, you've seen her in those depositions. She was one of the worst at handling questions.
The pressure was a little bit much for her, yeah.
Yeah, and she would get feisty, and you're like, it's just not natural. You're just not good at it. And so my guess is that she is just done, and one of the reasons this is probably the gladdest reason of being fired is that she doesn't have to deal with these things.
I can teach Pam Bondi how to handle tough situations. Oh, so pretend you're a member of Congress, you're really angry at me, and then I'll answer the way Pam Bondi should answer. I'm just going to teach her real quick.
Okay. Why did you say that there are video evidences of the Epstein files, and now we can't see them?
Mr. Wiggins, that's a very good question. Congressman Wiggins, thank you for that question. When I first took office, I wanted to find the truth in the Jeffrey Epstein case, and I continue to try to find truth in the Jeffrey Epstein case, and I will continue to release information that is truthful on the Jeffrey Epstein case.
But you did not answer my specific question, Attorney General.
Congressman Wiggins, thank you for that question, but the truth will come out in due time.
What is the purpose of this hearing, Attorney General?
Congressman Wiggins, thank you for that question. That's how they all, when they're scripted, they always start, Congressman, and they always say that. Thank you for your question. And it's just a delay tactic. And then they just don't answer the question. And then they just do that for 2 hours, and then it's over. That's all they do.
Except when they get feisty. And that's the stuff that makes the news. And that's the stuff that she was just really bad at. She was bad at it.
All you had to do was evade, just like everyone else does, and no answers ever come out, and then you release it in your own time. If she would have played that game, she'd have been like everyone else, and she would have had a job. But
she would divert sometimes too. And look, I'm not saying every question she got asked was good. Some of them were ridiculous and terrible, and implying things that were all false. And so, they get mad at those. But the one that she got hammered on, rightfully so, is a terrible answer. They asked her a question about something completely different. And she said, look, but the stock market hit 50,000 points today. Right. You go, what are you talking about? Don't do that. That's not this topic at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. Okay, it's no big deal. I looked at that and I said, there's nothing really to look into here, honestly. She just doesn't want to do it, which I figure is probably in the best interest of everyone.
Nancy Mace is still pushing, though. Do you see that?
No, is she?
Yeah, Nancy Mace is, let me look it up real quick, but she said she is going to still pursue this. It says, Mace calls for Bondi to testify in Epstein files or be held in contempt of Congress.
Oh, I thought you said or beheaded. I thought you were going to say that's like, wow, that is really dark.
No, but she's going to hold her feet to the fire and say, you're going to appear, you'll be held in contempt, which I don't even know if that matters.
If they can do that at this point.
Well, they can do, if they can do it, that's fine, but I don't even know if being held in contempt does anything.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. Well, I guess we'll have to see how that plays out. Coming up after the break, Ethan Sports. And let me just ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard of a time are you going to give Ethan during this segment?
Oh, I'm always a pretty consistent 7 until he screws up, and then I'll turn it up a notch.
Turn it up to 8 or 9?
Yeah.
Okay. You've never really hit that 10 yet, though, have you?
Oh, I think we've probably dabbled.
So the default 7.
Yeah.
Let's see where we go from there coming up in the next segment. And we'll talk some sports with Ethan on 97.1 FM Talk.
Ouch! Check from behind. Man, that's gotta hurt.
I'd hire Morgan & Morgan if I were them.
What?
Yeah, Dan, America's largest injury law firm. They serve up justice, ice, cold, law. Know what I mean?
I guess.
Their gloves come off when they fight for you.
Okay.
I'm talking a settlement slap shot.
Shouldn't we be talking about the game?
Yeah, Dan. Morgan & Morgan.
Proud partner of the St. Louis Blues. Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call my friends at Zero Res. Mark Cox here. It's the perfect time to clean your air ducts as you deal with allergy season. You know, your furnace, your AC efficiency, all of that matters. Your air ducts are like the lungs of your home. If they're dirty, your indoor air is going to suffer. Right now, you get a whole system air duct cleaning for just $5.99. Pay less for fresh. Call 314-474-2020 or go online at ZeroResSTL.com.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, it's good to hear you.
Hey, Dad, isn't it good to see ya?
Yep, but with smoke alarms, we need to hear them. If one alarm is downstairs, you might not hear it upstairs.
At school, everyone hears the fire alarm.
That's why we install hardwired smoke alarms that all go off together, just like school.
Smoke alarms done the right way.
Green is always grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
The Annie Fry Show is St. Louis conservative.
Check it out. Sports and local.
And now, Ethan comments on the name of the segment.
Oh, you're going to refuse now. It's all the game. Real funny.
You like what I did there?
Yeah, good job.
Wiggins. Well, whatever the name of this segment is, it's sponsored by All Financial. It's just me commenting on how there's no name for the segment today. But it is Ethan Sports and Local on the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk. Some of the St. Louis residents will soon have the opportunity to purchase tickets for 8 Olympic soccer matches scheduled for 2028 in the city. The first LA 28 ticket draw ended on March 16th, allowing some individuals to start buying tickets for games to be played from July 11th through July 20th of 2028. St. Louis will host both men's and women's Olympic soccer matches at Energizer Park. Get this, first time that the Olympic Games have been in the city since 1904. That's kind of cool. You don't really think about how long it's been since there's been any sort of Olympic connection to St. Louis, but it's been that long, Ryan.
There is a lot of pressure on us then to invent a whole bunch of stuff when that's happening, because as you were aware, during 1904, the World's Fair, when all this was going down, basically every modern invention in the history of the world was invented at the 1904 World's Fair.
I'm talking about the Olympics, not the World's Fair.
I know, but that was all one thing.
No.
Same time.
It was all happened at the same time.
Okay.
And so we have to invent something as monumental as the ice cream cone whenever the Olympic Games are happening here.
Any ideas for what we should invent?
I think we should invent some sort of bus that can fly.
So you want to invent a flying car?
Bus.
I'm not sure if you heard the first part of my phrase.
Bus. You wanted? We gotta. I mean, but if
flying
you
cars have been around since the '60s.
Oh,
in fiction, nobody talks about flying buses that much.
Oh,
Some people do a little bit.
Ryan Recker, your thoughts on the potential creation of the flying bus and its potential to be created here in St. Louis?
Here's what the 1904 World's Fair had.
He's
ice cream
politicking
cone, hamburger, hot dog, Dr. Pepper, cotton candy, the wall electrical plug, the early fax machine, wireless telephone, and widespread use of electric lighting. That's a tough act to follow if you're trying to one-up 1904. Good luck.
I have an idea. You know, I heard hamburger. I heard hot dog. What if we could get a hamburger in hot dog form? Like it's a hamburger shaped like a hot dog. So it looks like a hot dog, but you're really still eating a hamburger.
You're eating beef?
Yes.
That's just like a long, slender beef?
Yep.
Well, they make beef.
What do you think about that,
sausage
Ryan?
stuff, right?
What do you think?
Well, I think you should do it first and tell me if it's good, and then I'll do it.
Ketchup, mustard on it, yeah.
Daniel said he would do it.
Just
Volunteered to do
mayonnaise.
it.
No. For the record, I did not volunteer. Just going to put that out there.
Said it off air. So yeah, that's going to be coming up here. Opportunities to get tickets for the LA 28.
This comment just came in from the stream. It says, "Don't they just call flying buses airplanes?" No, those are airplanes. I want a bus that flies, dude.
I mean, it really is.
You guys
I mean, it basically is.
Look, I came up with that on the spot.
That doesn't mean that it was good.
We're just spitballing here.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Okay. All right. We're going to keep moving here on sports and local for the sake of the segment to maybe be salvaged. The Cardinals lost game 1 of their previous series with the Washington Nationals, came back and won the final 2. A great comeback 7-6 extra inning win on Tuesday, and then yesterday afternoon in the getaway game, they beat up on the Nats 6-1 the final score. Jordan Walker hit his 5th home run of 2026. That is tied for the MLB league leading home run. And let's see what else. They got a good outing from Michael McGreevy, who's been sharp to start off the year. So with the win, the Cardinals now 7-5, and they are back at home now for an upcoming weekend series against the Boston Red Sox. So they faced off against Miles Michaelis. Were able to get to him, but yeah, I mean, through 12 games, I think you have to be pretty happy with what you've gotten out of your St. Louis Cardinals.
What's their record?
7-5.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, just based off of what the expectations were for the year, and there's still 150 baseball games to be played. So, not to say by any means this is all of a sudden going to be a playoff team or a World Series contender, but I think based off of what the expectations were, people should be happy with what we have seen.
I don't
early
want
on
to
in
get
the season.
too far into the weeds. Just give me the 30,000-foot view of the answer of this question. Is there going to be a strike next year?
Oh boy.
Sorry,
I would lean towards yes. There is going to be a strike. And for those that don't know, just the very general reasoning for that is that the collective bargaining agreement is expiring at the end of the year. So
and they don't look like they're close.
And the reason that they are not close is because MLB ownership wants to implement a salary cap and floor because some of these contracts that some of these superstars are getting to be so massive. Players don't want a salary cap and a salary floor.
Imagine that.
Major League Baseball is the only of the 4 major sports leagues that does not have a cap and a floor.
Wouldn't the floor benefit the players though?
Perhaps,
it would bring it
but
up.
I think that what players would argue is that these owners already make so much money. And honestly, a lot of the owners get away with not having to field super competitive teams, and they still make ridiculous amounts of money.
These fat cats.
Yep. And even with having mediocre teams, they still make loads of money. So the players are saying the owners are getting loads of money regardless. These bigger contracts have finally made it to where it's a little bit more of an even playing field.
That seems the opposite of true. That the bigger the contracts would only go to the big teams, which would tilt it to the big markets.
Yes, potentially. But if you look at, I am personally on the side of I don't want a salary cap or a salary floor in Major League Baseball. If I was to pick one, it would be the floor. But I don't think that teams like the Los Angeles Dodgers, the New York Mets, which, yes, though it happens to be the bigger market teams, I don't think that we should punish them for wanting to field competitive teams that are trying to win every year rather than the Pittsburgh Pirates, who have been in a rebuild mode for the past 15 years. Inexcusable.
You're such a capitalist.
I know. What's wrong with me? I'm just a sicko.
You pig.
I'm just a sicko. Moving on here in sports and local. Actually, real quick, deeper segue into Cardinals. Super sad story with former major leaguer Packy Naughton. I don't know if you remember that name at all. He was a relief pitcher for the Cardinals back in 2022, early 23. He has missed pretty much the entirety of the last 3 years with injury. Had some elbow issues, some forearm issues, Tommy John stuff. He's missed a lot of time. finally came back this offseason, had a really good spring with the Cardinals, and is in AAA right now, and people are thinking, okay, he's going to probably be back on the Major League roster at some point this year. Great feel-good story. Made one of his first appearances of the year last night in Memphis. His third pitch of the outing, throws it immediately, cradling his elbow, leaves the game. So a lot of people are thinking that Packy Naughton may have experienced another big setback in his trek to get back to the majors. So just a sad story.
I got to tell
tough.
you, when you started that story, I thought that he had died.
No.
That's the way you were talking about.
Goodness.
Very sad story coming out with Packy Naughton. I'm like, oh, man.
It's not that sad.
I was almost glad to hear that he had just torn his elbow.
By all things considered, you're actually cheering this injury.
It is good news compared to that, but most things are. Compared to death. But
well, that's the way you set it up then.
Well, I like to keep you on your toes.
Thank
of
you.
all people. You know how to do that with those segment opens. So hopefully it doesn't end up being anything too costly for Naughton, but yeah, he exited the game, and the Cardinals haven't announced any further what exactly is the latest on him, but I'm sure they will soon. U.S. representatives from Illinois and Missouri introduced legislation in the past month. Just haven't gotten to talk about this story, but I think it is still relevant, so I wanted to touch on it. In the last month, to expand the boundaries of Gateway Arch National Park across the river into East St. Louis. Had you heard it all about
I've heard
this,
a little
Ryan?
bit. I've heard a little bit.
The bill would incorporate Malcolm W. Martin Memorial Park in adjacent vacant lots into the national park's official footprint. The proposal is a collaboration between lawmakers from both political parties and both sides of the Mississippi River. The project aims to connect the monument to the Illinois riverfront through a combination of public and private efforts, it says. Let's see. Who do I have quotes from here? This is from Wesley Bell, saying that the Gateway Arch was always meant to be a monument to both sides of the river. That was the original vision. This bill finally delivers that. This is from Nikki Budzinski, who's a Democrat on the Illinois side. She said that this marks the first important step that Congress can take to enable the expansion of the Gateway Arch National Park and bring renewed opportunity, energy, and investment to communities all across the region.
Well,
We've talked about it.
That's not true.
Yeah, go ahead.
They're not going to invest in communities across the region. They're going to plug something down in East St. Louis so you can watch it and see a better view. I mean, I don't think that this goes beyond that.
Is that a bad thing?
I'm not necessarily opposed to that. It's just that statement isn't true.
Okay.
And
so you think that it's a little bit fluffed up?
It definitely is fluffed up. And there already is a lookout point on the east side, and it's nice.
It is.
But I don't know what more it could become. So I'm torn because I like the idea, but I'm not sure what this does, especially if you're going to even to get to that lookout point the way it is now. There's probably a name for that park. I don't remember, where they shoot the water fountain off every hour or so. It's a neat idea. It's just, it costs a lot of money. What's it doing? Because it's not bringing economic opportunity to East St. Louis.
Sure.
Nobody's stopping in and being like, oh, while they're there, we'll go see a show, in East St. Louis or something. But it's like, well, I don't hate the idea. So hey, maybe, but I don't know. I'm skeptical.
I know we've talked before on the show about what can we do to try and take advantage of the potential that side of the river has.
And the view is so much better over there.
It's beautiful. It is
great.
Absolutely amazing, especially at nighttime when the city's all lit up, but it's just so dangerous around there. How do you begin to revitalize that area? The hopeful, optimistic thing to say, Ryan, is that maybe these can be early steps. Is it incorporating things like this, and eventually maybe that entices once they start taking further steps, if they were to.
I like your optimism.
Maybe this is like the things that you can draw to, is like, hey, like This is right across the river. They're already doing some things, expanding the national
Unless
park.
you have
things like
some
that.
sort of private development that's going along with it outside of this little area, nothing's going to happen.
Right.
And this is typical politics. It's typical Democrat politics, especially. They think, well, if government comes in and does something nice, that will fix the problem. No, you need people bought in the community. You need people bought in who are going to bring other opportunities to revitalize it that could be a center point for. But if you don't have the rest of it, it's just another government sucker.
Yeah, it's a far ways away.
Yeah.
If it's going to ever happen. So I guess we'll see if even this happens.
Wiggins, that was like the nicest you've ever been to Ethan.
No.
Ever.
No, it's not. That was decent.
Top 10. It was probably top 10.
Top 10?
Top
Okay.
10.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks. I guess we're out.
Well, see you later.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Welcome to Radio Rental. The scariest stories you've ever heard in your life. All told by real people. And off we go.
This wasn't a human being that I saw. There's something here in this house, something not of this world.
There was a woman moving through the hall. I stepped back and I was completely alone.
Radio Rental is available now. Listen for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group, as they show you how to create a worry-free retirement. It's Tuesday, April 28th at the DoubleTree Hotel in Chesterfield at 6:30. Here are Thomas and Bob with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and would like to know how to turn your 401k and IRA into a worry-free retirement? Would you like to learn the investment strategy that gives you market growth while avoiding the market losses at the same time?
Would you like to get your free personalized retirement income plan? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free and have a worry-free retirement? If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Have a worry-free retirement and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw. It's at the DoubleTree Hotel in Chesterfield, Tuesday, April 28th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Here's something I run into a lot with younger homeowners, and happened to be with my little boy. He was looking at purchasing homes. This house had a 20-plus-year-old furnace and air conditioner. And, of course, my advice was never buy a house with that old of an air conditioner. You will be buying a new one. And he goes, well, how much does a new one cost? For his size home, told him figure tens of thousands to over $20,000. If you're looking at a house, my personal opinion is make sure it's a newer unit. If not, request buyers to put in a newer unit. That makes it easier on your 15 or 30-year mortgage if it's included in the loan. Just my piece of advice for that. But if you're hearing this after the fact and you do need a new air conditioner, sorry to hear that, but call me, Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers. It is 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. God bless.
Looking forward to this Saturday, seeing Jimmy Fallon. I will be there along with many, many others here from 97.1. We hope that you are there too. Jimmy Fallon live at the Factory this Saturday in Chesterfield. Doors open at 7 o'clock. The show is at 8 o'clock, and we are inviting you to come. This is a reschedule, actually, from January, so there were a little bit more tickets that showed up because some people's schedules didn't line up, so you can still go. I think there's still a few left here as we get close to the show. They might be sold out by the time we get to Saturday, but at this moment, they are still available if you go to 971talk.com/events, 971talk.com. You can see the show there, and you can buy your tickets there as well. It is 2:35. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
Midwest Made. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hit it. This ain't no disco. It ain't no country club either. This is LA. All I wanna do
is rip off Medicaid and cause some fraud. I think you could really
almost worked.
You could almost do something similar to that song. This is LA. Don't step in syringes and human feces.
You ever been to LA?
No.
I went in 2024.
How was it?
Exactly as you would think. Even, is it Sunset Boulevard that's the main drag there that people go to? Like, we saw the Hollywood sign, and we saw the stars, although the stars are all over the place now. And it was just nasty. It was gross, and it was cool because you could tell that this was an awesome place probably in 1955.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of updates since then. It was just kind of decrepit.
Yep. No, I kind of get that feel. Can I just piggyback off of something there from the last, this national park business about building on the other side of the river? I think that is so stupid. This bipartisan support for it. Am I the only one that looks at this and says, you're going to make it worse by doing that?
Well, I don't know. How are they making it worse?
So you're going to split the park, and you're going to have like a auxiliary parking in auxiliary park on the other side to enjoy it from the Illinois side. One, Illinois, what are they going to do that's going to improve it other than having a place to look at the other side? So they already have that. But two, you're basically going to share something that's uniquely yours and say, well, actually, there's one on the other side of the river too. Like, you're going to have to concede that it's something that is not confined to St. Louis.
Yeah,
I don't
only
like that.
in if they decide to build another bigger arch over there.
Love the idea. You know, with all the taxpayer money that is going to fraud right now, if they were just recoup half of that, they could build another arch.
Yeah, this is the fraud arch.
The fraud arch. But I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, when it comes to national parks, the St. Louis, arch grounds there, a lot of money is still paid by Missouri. It's not like the feds maintain and pay for the upkeep of that. It's one of those rare things for being a national park. We pay a lot of money for it. So on the Illinois side, what are they going to do? Like, is the funding going to specifically come from Illinois? Or are they going to expect something from the St. Louis side in cooperation to make this work?
I don't know the answer to that because you're right. It is a federal park. I found that out because you can't film there. I don't know if you knew that. You cannot take, well, they're not going to stop you from taking pictures because you can do it so fast. But you can't take video and stuff. You're legally not allowed to do that on federal land.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, now cameras are so ubiquitous that it's hard to stop. But I know that before smartphones, they would police that very hard, that you couldn't have a camera coming through there on arch grounds. And so I know for that reason that it's federal land and not local. But about who's funding it, I didn't know. I didn't know that Missouri contributed anything to that. And then if they are going to move it to Illinois, I'm not that worried about it because, as you know, Illinois is flush with cash.
And they know how to spend it properly.
Yeah.
Can I read you my favorite headline? And this may be in competition for headline of the year. Amputee murder suspect snorts off dollar bill, shoots gun out window.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's the murder trial of the guy that's like a quadruple amputee rather. He's got his arms and his legs gone. Remember, he was charged Dayton Weber was charged with murder. And they're like, how can he even shoot a gun? And they're like, well, actually, there's a lot of videos of him out there shooting guns. So it's not really that big of a deal. But there he is. He's doing like headstands and he's snorting and he's like a professional cornhole player.
Oh, I was going to ask, is this the cornhole guy?
It is the cornhole guy. Yeah.
He's a cornhole champion and he's quadriplegic.
Right. And there's like video of him shooting guns and stuff. And you're watching the video of this and you're like, how did he not smack his face with this thing? Because he has like both of his arms up and he's holding it, trying to aim it, but his arms are kind of like, short, like not up to the elbow. So the way he's holding it up, it's like right in front of his face. It's almost like he's using the butt of the gun, the handle on his chin to secure this thing. And I'm thinking, how can he do that and it not smack him up in the eye or the nose every time he does that?
I'm amazed that you discovered this story because I saw this a while back, but the headline wasn't what you just read. It was about the fact that he was a murder suspect and I guess will likely be tried for murder, and was a cornhole champion, and he's a quadriplegic. Yeah.
Well, this is the news today. I mean, we're keeping up with the very latest of what's going on with this story at all times.
Thank you.
And TMZ is leading the way with this one. Amputee murder suspect snorts off dollar bill, shoots gun out window. This is newly
divulged information out of this story.
Yeah. So you're telling me he's due back in court about a month from now, May 6th. And his attorneys say he's 100% not guilty. If I'm paying someone to be my attorney, I would also hope they say I'm 100% not guilty.
Yeah, right. or say something like, because you can't say anything other than 100. Because if you go, you know what, we're like 98% sure that he did not do this.
We're pretty sure.
Yes,
here.
he does coke.
I mean,
yes, he shoots a lot of guns and people, but not this one.
Nah, it didn't happen this time. I mean, who knows? I mean, not that night at least.
Right.
100% not that night. What was he doing? Practicing cornhole like he does every night. Yeah, just and snorting off. I mean, he's not being charged with snorting off a dollar bill or whatever. So might as well throw that in there. That part's probably true, but the other stuff, no way. Not going to happen. Did you see the 13-year-old that is accused of shooting two teens at a track meet last week? One has been charged, the 13-year-old charged, and is appearing in court. So 13-year-old accused of shooting two teens at a Ferguson track meet appeared in court yesterday at a detention hearing. 13 years old, man. I think about when I was 13, could any of that ever have crossed your mind? I mean, we grew up in an era where, I mean, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger movies where you would shoot someone just for Dirty Harry. You would shoot someone just for looking at you weird, and you'd be like, yeah, that's what they get. And the way that the movies and media portrayed guns. When growing up, it was on TV. It was everywhere. You joked about it. It was no big deal. And now I'm looking at this as an adult, and the kid's 13, and he actually picked up a gun and is accused of shooting two teens at a track meet. Would that ever have crossed your mind at that age to use a weapon that way to hurt someone?
No, it always made me wonder, because when we were younger, the debate was going on when you and I were in high school, Ryan, about, well, are video games too violent? Is television too violent? Is it teaching people to be too violent? And I always thought at the time, you'd have to be stupid to think that video game is real or that TV's real. And yet this argument was happening kind of among the adults above us at that time, I remember. And I remember thinking that it was such a stupid argument. And I still feel that way. I'm not saying that I love, unnecessary, excessive violence in media or video games, but I also don't think that's the culprit.
It's not. No, I don't think it's the culprit at all. I think there's a lot of other factors that play into this, but I mean, the victims were both 8th grade students at a middle school. And it says it's the terrible motive. They have not said what the motive they believe is. Police have not released that information yet. But one, kid got access to a gun. Number two, he used it. Allegedly, that's what he's being charged with in court for second-degree murder, first-degree assault, unlawful use of a weapon, and 2 counts of armed criminal action. Spokesperson for St. Louis County Court said Wednesday he appeared virtually at Juvenile Detention Center, ordered by the commissioner to remain in custody. Couldn't leave just yet. This is a wild world, and it seems like it's just more and more going that way. Like, this seems much more common, and this is, let me just say this real quick. I don't think this is going to be controversial. Sometimes I wonder if it's going to be, but I don't think it's not. This is why I don't want the influences of the world to take over and say they have the right to parent my children, because the influences of the world is what leads to this garbage. Like, if I can keep it with my family and we can teach them the values and put them and correct them when they need to be corrected and be good parents to them, that's what the goal, and that's what you should be doing as parents. But when you open this up into, say, other people's opinions and this type of, it also opens up the door to say, you know what, if you don't like this person, then you have the right to be angry, and you can even use force against that person because you're justified. This is the stuff that they implant in some of these kids' minds, and it goes beyond violence. It goes into the social aspect of it, and it goes into identities, and there's so many different areas that it can branch off with this. This is what happens when the parents are told they can't parent their kids in a lot of ways. If there are two parents at all, I don't know anything about this kid. I'm betting we find out more about this kid as we go along here, especially if there's going to be a trial. But you said he's only 13, right? 13. Yeah, so I don't know if we'll know much publicly about that trial. A lot of that stuff will be kept secret. But I do know the facts are that fatherlessness and crime go hand in hand. Yeah. And I think you were kind of alluding to this, that when there's no father in the home, it's like the kids don't know really how to process turmoil. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that all kids without dads turn to guns, but it just means that you can link crime, especially young crime, and fatherlessness very, very strongly. And you know what? Sometimes that becomes a much larger barrier to get past, and sometimes kids can't get past that. It's unfortunate. I'm Brian Recker, filling in for Andy Fry. We have our poll results coming up after the break. 97.1 FM Talk.
97.1 FM Talk, proud to partner with Missouri Right to Life.
This is Steve Rupp, president of Missouri Right to Life. Join us at our Make Missouri Pro-Life Again banquet with keynote Riley Gaines on May 20th in St. Charles. Go to the Missouri Right to Life website for details.
Stewart's American Mortgage, he's the bagel loan guy, and you know him for the bagel loan, which means no closing costs when you go to complete that loan. This can save you thousands of dollars in the process of securing a new loan, whether it's a brand new loan on a brand new house that you're pretty pumped to buy. Make sure that you don't think about your lender last. A lot of times lenders kind of can be a package deal with the people you're working with to purchase a home. But that lender, you shop around, make sure you get the best deal for you. This is probably going to be a 20, 25, 30-year commitment. You want the best deal out there, and it starts with the bagel loan. Call them at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. And Google the bagel loan for more information. And remember, this is the mortgage you get that comes with $0 in closing costs. I myself have been a customer twice. I stand by it. Stewie's a great guy. Reach out to him and Google the bagel loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health Today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
It's time for you to get to know my friends at Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield, where luxury meets comfort. Mark Cox here. They have a great selection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, craft cocktails, anything you like to drink, cold beer, premium hand-rolled cigars from the finest makers in the world, even private lockers that are available if you choose to. Perfect for date nights or business meetings, and live music every Friday night. Family owned and operated. Check them out in Chesterfield at the District. It's litstl.com.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry. I don't know what your wife tells you, Ryan Wiggins, before you go into work, but my wife said, knowing that I'm doing the show today, my friends still listen. Don't say anything stupid. That was her advice to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Here in St. Louis, they listen.
Yeah, still listen. Christy, if you're listening, my wife warned me. She specifically said you are going to be listening, so don't say anything stupid. So I've been trying not to. In fact, I had all kinds of things. I said, honey, I can make up all kinds of stories about you, and she'll know who I'm talking about.
What does your friend think about Ethan wanting to eat nothing but cylindrical beefsteak?
I would say that I don't think she took it that way, but now there's no way to avoid it.
Yeah.
What if he invents it? Like Ethan's old-timey beefsteak. I don't want to say it's like the worst idea ever, but you wouldn't be able to keep it together. You'd have to have like a beef sausage. You ever see the guy on YouTube that will sausage things? He's awesome. Will It Sausage is the name of the YouTube channel. He's fantastic.
I didn't know other things could sausage. I thought
he's sausage, all kinds of stuff.
would sausage.
Yep, you can sausage anything. He's got his own like sausage press. He puts the own casings. He basically will cook things, blend them, put them through the sausage press, and then cook the sausage and eat it. And then he'll give a food review of if it's sausages or not. So he's gone to like, for example, Pizza Hut, and he'll blend a pizza and he'll stick it in a sausage and make that. Or he'll go to Taco Bell and he'll do like, tacos and sausage that. And sometimes the stuff is really good and sometimes the stuff is terrible. And they're like 2-minute reviews. It's really quick and they're all fantastic. I would recommend it. Will It Sausage.
Which ones were good? Just really quick.
I think the Taco Bell and Pizza Hut ones are the ones that come to mind.
They sound decent.
But the beef stuff, I don't know how that would handle.
We'll ask you.
I know we got a poll question we're going to get to in a second. We had so many clips we didn't even play today. That happens all the time, though. Can we play the Canadian government clip again where they go through the whole list of letters? This is clip number 1. I got to say, this is really the clip of the day.
Deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2SL LGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent.
That's tough. That's a lot of letters to memorize in a row and nail on the first try. I got to give that person credit for at least knowing how to say that out loud without messing up. Even if I practiced that for a half a day, I don't even think I'd be able to get that out correctly. So that came right out of the tip of the tongue there.
Yeah, he was ready to go with that. He knew how.
Canadian government there. MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA+. And that's reading it. And it's hard to do even just reading it, looking at that string. So many people have been like posting on social media, great, now I have to change my password. All right, well, we have some poll results. Is that about right?
Yes,
from
we
our
do.
YouTube. All right, how's it look?
Should the United States remain in NATO? Ryans, what are your guys' thoughts? What do you think? What are your opinions? But also, how do you think this went?
Ryan Recker, you can go first.
Yeah, might as well just stay in it. It's stupid, but we'll do it.
I got a bunch of comments on the text line. If NATO doesn't step up and help police the strait, then we need to say bye-bye to NATO. oh gosh, they're all spread out, so it's going to take me a second. United Nations have become shadow voices, and Trump doesn't hide in the shadows. I think I mentioned that one before.
Seems like something, though, that people are pretty opinionated on. I mean, I guess there's some people kind of like, I could see the pros and cons, but it feels like there's a lot of opinion on it.
Betsy says on our YouTube stream, sorry, wrong one. There we go. Undecided, leaning towards yes. What have they done for us lately? Joe says, yes, the deterrent for Russia is too important, but some people need a good talking to inside the club. So he's a yes. I think that's interesting. Wichita says 50-50 on the poll. What does that say? I think that says that there's a lot of reason to be questioning it right now, which is why we're asking that question. Did you answer this?
I didn't. I don't feel like I have enough of an idea of a good idea. I know that NATO needs us a lot more than we need them.
Yeah.
So I think that I would probably align with the majority here. That I'll get to in a second. But I'm not super sold on great reason for one or the other. But
okay.
Now for those poll results, should the United States remain in NATO? 60% say no. 40% say yes, we should.
So not quite an even split, but not a decisive win for either one either.
It was, throughout the majority of the day, it was pretty close to 50-50, and then here in the last little bit, it started to stretch towards no.
Wow, I'm actually surprised by that. I thought it would be a little bit closer, but 60% saying, and the way the question is no, meaning we should leave it. That's what no means, right? In this instance.
Yeah, saying that we should leave. Should we remain? And the answer is no.
Can I say our life doesn't change much if we leave NATO? At least under Donald Trump, it wouldn't. And our life shouldn't change that much. And I think we could do better things without it. But just stick as part of the club. You know what? Sometimes you hold on to that streaming service and you pay the fee every month because once in a while there's something you want to watch on it. So you might as well just keep with it at this point. All right, well, that about does it for us. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Andy Fry, and I got to tell you, I had a great time hanging out here with you tonight. I'll be back again tomorrow. Hope to see you then on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
On Money, sponsored by Wesley Financial. Baseball season is here, and it seems like you can't watch your favorite team without a spreadsheet of streaming services.
It truly does require a lot of